All right. For those of you watching on the YouTube channel, before we join the radio audience, I hope you can hear audio. Okay. It's going to be an adventurous evening tonight. We have no graphics, we have no scoreboard for the stream, but through some miracle, we do have video, and I think we have audio. I hope we have audio. It looks like we do. All right. So it could be worse. Don't have the bells and whistles for you guys this time around. But we've got the game, we've got the video, we've got audio, it looks like. I'm hoping our connection holds. Just system gremlins. So no graphics for this one, but that's all right. Appreciate you guys being with us. Have an abbreviated pregame show with all of our technical fun. So about 5 minutes, we'll get going. And we'll join the radio audience and get Lyman and Lander started momentarily. All right, once again, for anyone just joining on the video stream, appreciate your patience in advance, but it looks like our video's all right. Audio looks okay. It's going to be a little bit different. We just have no, anything else. We don't have a scoreboard for you, so I'm on that. I will keep you up to date on the current score. Good thing to do for the radio audience anyway. That's probably all you guys are going to miss. You're going to have a commercial-free experience here this evening. That's not by our design. And no slight to our sponsors, but we had a catastrophic crash of our graphics stuff. I'll just leave it at that in terms of computer issues. Very interesting to me, not so interesting to you guys. So we got the audio, we got the video. If our connection holds, it's bare bones, but hey, we got it. All right, let's join our radio audience and get underway here.
It's time for Tiger Tip-Off. Watch today's games on the County 10 YouTube channel or catch radio coverage on KOBE 1330 AM and 107.7 FM.
Well, a pleasant Thursday evening, everyone. Welcome inside Lyman High School for the Lyman Eagles and a doubleheader with the Lander Tigers. First up, the Lander Ladies and the Lyman. Scott Fuller with you inside Lyman High School. Abbreviated pregame show brought to you by Porter's as the national anthem will proceed tip-off.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pledge of Allegiance as opposed to the national anthem before the girls' game. Lander Tigers and the Lyman Lady Eagles. A very abbreviated Porter's Tailgate show because of some technical issues we've been having, but we do have the audio on the radio. We've got the video on the YouTube stream, and that's about all we've got. But aside from a doubleheader with Lyman, for those of you that couldn't make the trip from Fremont County, glad to bring it to you. As the starting lineups are being introduced for the Lander Tigers, we'll get those to you momentarily. Porter's Mountain View Supply in Riverton, your one-stop shop for grills, spas, stoves, pellets, and more. Porter's is a proud supporter of Fremont County athletes. As you see, if you are watching on the YouTube feed, we are way up in the rafters here at Lyman, and the Lander ladies, I assume the boys will be as well, are wearing their black on greens, but we'll do our best to follow the action from our elevated perch. The starting lineups for the Lander Tigers, I believe, are our typical five for the ladies. Got Goklish, McFadden, Mulholland, Goggles, and Reinhardt as Lyman is being introduced.
Number 3, Addison Smith.
We'll get those on the fly for you as well.
Number 4, Fallon Youngberg.
The Lady Eagles will start Hanson, Smith,
Number
Fallon
10,
Youngberg, Anna France,
and number 14,
and Peyton Anderson.
Hello, Peyton Anderson.
Once again for the Tigers, Goklish, McFadden, Mulholland, Goggles, and Zegan Reinhardt. Lander ladies again wearing their black on greens. Lyman Lady Eagles wearing their typical home whites, trimmed in blue. Mentioned this once before we got going, but for those of you watching on the stream, we have no scoreboard, no graphics of any kinds. So I will be bringing you the score early and often. Tip is one back to the Lyman ladies, and we are underway from south of Interstate 80 on this Thursday evening. Lyle working their offense in half court from left to right. Addison Smith feeding down low to Youngberg. No good. Rebound taken back by Lander, who tries to push in transition. Goklish to Reinhardt. McFadden, and believe that's Goggles in the corner. That might have been tipped. Possession back to Lyman. Still scoreless. 7:23 remaining, and a turnover back to the Tigers. Looking for our first points of the game. To add to the fun, this is my problem, not yours, but both of the scoreboards from our perch are pretty well hidden from me, but I can make them out. We got 7:22 to go in the first quarter, all tied up at 0 as Lander runs their second offensive possession. Starting on the right side and feeding into the corner. That is Goklish, I believe, looking for that 3 from the left edge. That's no good. Still scoreless from Lyman. First points of the game for the Lady Eagles as a nice 3. I think that was Owen Hansen. Makes the score 3-0 Lyman. Lander working their offense on the left side. McFadden in the corner. Skip pass all the way across to Goklish. Feed inside and the entry pass stolen away. Lyman with a 3-0 lead. And in transition with 6:27 to go in the first quarter. Tie up in the left corner. Possession arrow is back to Lander. Should have brought my football binoculars for this broadcast position here today. Late substitution is the reason for the whistle as the Lyman Eagle checks into the game. That's Riley Heisel. And we do see a full court, looks like man-to-man press from Lyman. It is 3-0 Lady Eagles. Lander looking for their first points of the game. Tigers running their offense with Reinhardt on the right side. Has the ball tipped out of bounds, and the possession remains with the Tigers. Lander to inbound, trailing 3-0. First quarter action from Lyman High School. Goklish with the ball, right side out, now pushes left. Gives it up to her left. Lander looking for any kind of entry pass to Reinhardt, right side. Place catch with Goklish. There's a 3 in the left corner. Good-looking shot, but didn't fall. Nice offensive rebound. Nearly tracked down by Deegan Reinhardt, but lost out of bounds to Lyman. 3-0 Eagles. 5:10 to go in the first quarter on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Lander instituting their 2-2-1 press. Across the timeline is Anna France. Here's a bomb of a 3. Right side outside, no good. And a nice defensive board pulled down by Deegan Reinhardt for the Tigers. 3-0 Lyman. Skip pass finds its way out of bounds. Thought that might have been tipped, but the ref says no, so a turnover back to Lyman. Once again, Lander in their 2-2-1, trailing 3-0. Lyman's 3, the only points on the game in the first quarter. In transition, nice steal. That 2-2-1 works as Lander will have the possession with Goklish. Daisy thought about pushing the issue on the right side, and Stem pulls it back. Goklish with a couple of crossovers and then top of the key. Goklish from the right elbow. Gives to her left to Goggles. This backdoor cut. See who that was from way up here. I think that was Kendall McFadden finishing the play with Lander's first 2 of the game. Lyman leading 3-2, and a turnover forced by that press will get the ball back to the Tigers. So 4:13 to go in the first quarter on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Lander's press starting to pick up a little bit, looking for some offense to match. Tigers down by 1. 3-2 early action from Lyman. As Lander crosses the timeline with Goklish. Goggles to her right. Skip pass back towards. Tigers try that play again. It's open again, but cut off at the last moment by the low block defender by Lyman. So Lander resets their defense. Crossover right side out is Goggles. Skip to McFadden. Gives it up, gets it back. Puts up a shot. Some contact there, no call. Play on as Lyman tries to break the Lander press. Mid-range 2 from just outside the right block is no good. And another nice defensive rebound from Deegan Reinhardt. Lander pushing the ball a little bit too quick in the transition as Peyton Anderson comes away with the ball for big contact at the end of that play. That was Lyman in transition and a thud on the floor as called for the foul. I don't have a number 4. Maybe it's not on the scoreboard yet. They called the Tigers for an offensive foul. Oh, excuse me, they called Lyman for an offensive foul. So that's Fallon Youngberg picking up her first. Tigers trying to turn that into points. Lander Ladies trailing 3-2. 3:23 to go in the first quarter on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Lander running their offense, left side out, now right. Still working the ball from top of the key to right perimeter. It's a mid-range opportunity for Reinhardt that's no good, but the offensive rebound is pulled down by the Tigers. So Lander retains possession, driving baseline on the right, and an offensive foul. Maybe it was just a step out of bounds on the baseline. Turnover, nonetheless, back to Lyman. Eagles with a 3-2 lead. Landers 2-2-1, nearly traps at half court. Does eventually force a turnover to Reinhardt. Deegan Reinhardt pushes down the floor, kicks out left corner. Nice looking three there by McFadden, but that was no good. And a jump ball with the possession arrow back to Lyman. A lot's working for Lander right now. Just not getting those good looks to fall. Tigers trailing 3-2 to Lyman. Later first quarter action here on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Lander boys team is in the building now. Not sure if the teams actually traveled separately. I have no idea. That 3+ hour drive. It's normally about 3. South Pass was a little bit slower today, but everyone made it safely. Here in the first quarter of the first game of our doubleheader, it is 3-2. Lyman on top of Lander. Tigers with the basketball, though, running their offense from the top of the key. Entry pass down low, extra pass, now with 3 in the corner. No good, missed everything. Nice offensive rebound. I think that's Daisy down there, put up a shot. That one's no good. Offensive rebound, again, though, in the possession for Lander, but they'll throw the ball away into the backcourt. And in transition, a nearly converted, very nice play from Lyman's Owen Hansen, I believe that is. Again, tough to tell from up here. Riley Heisel, with the broadcast position way up in the rafters here at Lyman High School, but free throws are coming nonetheless. Couldn't convert the bucket, but the first free throw is up and good. Makes the score Lyman 4, Lander 2. 2:13 to go in the first quarter. Second free throw from Heisel is also, that one's no good, 4-2. So all the way through the first quarter here with 2:38 to go. Just have 6 combined points between these teams. That'll change, though, with a 3 in the corner from Brianna Lincoln coming in off the bench for some much-needed points. Lander takes the lead, 5-4 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Lyman has the ball stolen away in transition. Kendall McFadden without numbers. Bounce pass is knocked out of bounds. Thought it was out of bounds. It's saved by the Eagles. Lyman back the other way. And they give it up right in front of the Lander bench. So a lot of action, a lot of good looks for both teams, especially Lander and their set offense. Tigers unable to score a ton of points, but they have enough, 5-4. Another 3 in the corner from Brianna Lincoln. That was a good look, but just didn't go. Rebound pulled down by Heisel for Lyman. Lyman in transition. Numbers if they hurry, and the bunny is up and good from the right block. That gives the lead back to the Lady Eagles. 6-5. Whistle, I think, is going to be a foul here on Lander on the reach-in. That was Daisy Goklish, I believe, trying to make something happen defensively, but got called for the foul. Eagles up in the Tigers 6-5. Minute 40. I'm guessing half the time. There are 2 scoreboards, and I can't see either of them. Minute 19 to go in the first quarter on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Do know it is 6-5. Lyman on top of Lander as the Lady Tigers work their offense. Brianna Lincoln wants that 3 again and hits. Brianna Lincoln has 2 of those. 6 of Lander's 8 points. And the Tigers back on top 8-6. Lyman in transition, throws the ball out of bounds. Kendall McFadden wisely lets that go. And again, the Tigers with an 8-6 lead with the basketball. Timeouts taken on the floor by Lyman. It's a quick timeout, so gives us a chance to thank our sponsors, Bailey Tire and Auto, proud supporter of our local athletes. They have full-service tire and auto shops at 755 South Federal in Riverton and 1305 West Main in Lander. Also, thanks to WYDOT, reminding you that seatbelts save lives. Buckle up so you can stand the game every time, every ride, as we get new viewers in on the video stream. No graphics. Just going to put it in layman's terms and say our graphics computer exploded on arrival. That's not literally true, but I will keep you up to date with the score. Not sure you guys are going to miss anything else. It is nice to have the scoreboard on the screen, so apologies for that, but couldn't be helped. Aside from that, you have I guess you have a commercial-free broadcast for those of you watching on the stream. But we got the video, and we got the basketball game. That's all that matters. Lander out of the Lyman timeout will inbound. Tigers up 8-6 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Tigers working the perimeter. There's another three from McFadden that she couldn't get down. Rebound taken to Lyman. Eagles working their set offense with a minute to go in the first quarter. Lander 8, Lyman 6. It's probably the longest set offensive possession for the Eagles so far as they work the perimeter. Now an entry pass down low to Peyton Anderson. Anderson lost the handle. One and done for the Eagles. And Gokalish is going to draw a foul. This will be a foul against Lyman. Not a whole lot of fouls in the first quarter. Just 3 now for Lyman and 1 for the Lady Tigers. Free throws not yet a factor. 45 seconds on the first quarter clock. Lady Tigers with an 8-6 lead. Reinhardt driving in for Lander. Kick out. Here's a 3 from Brianna Lincoln. Brianna Lincoln has 3 3-pointers in the first quarter. 9 of Lander's 11 points, and the Tigers are up 11-6. Brianna Lincoln came off the bench on a mission tonight. She's got 3 3-pointers. In transition, Lyman, 1 and done. A lot of contact as Gokalish drove in. That was Hayden Goggles, I believe. Yep, that was Hayden taking the contact, actually. Like the look of these Lander uniforms, but the black on green is tough for an old broadcaster at the top of the building, so may mix up a couple of Lady Tigers. Have seen enough Lander ladies this year to be able to tell the difference usually. 20 seconds to go. Lander 11-6. Here's Gokalish for 3. That would have been big. Missed the shot. 4 seconds, now 3. Lyman's going to have to put up a shot, and time expires in the first quarter. So fits and starts for the Lander Lady Tigers, but Brianna Lincoln coming up big with 3 threes off the bench in the first quarter, and Lander leads 11-6 at the end of 1. Back after this here on 1330 KOVE and County10.com.
Your home for Lander Tiger basketball all season long. KOVE Radio, 1330 AM and 107.7 FM.
Lander possession to start the second quarter. Tigers on top of Lyman 11-6. A 3 in the corner right away. Why not? Brianna Lincoln has 3 threes in this game. 9 of Lander's 11 points. That shot didn't fall, though. So 1 and done for the Tigers. Back to the Lady Eagles. Trying to creatively break that 2-2-1 of Lander's full court press. only seems to get better as the game goes on, that 2-2-1. Lyman well away from the basket, did cross the timeline. Now they're working outside with Haley Hewitt. Entry pass down low to Peyton Anderson. They like to feed her down low. Here's a three from Addison Smith. High arcing shot, no good. Off the rim and then off the back of the backboard, out of bounds. So the Tigers with an 11-6 lead and the basketball. They'll have to go full court. Next, it looks like a full court man-to-man from Lyman. Brandon Lincoln, though, across the timeline. Game's leading scorer with 9. Tigers work their offense, left corner. Now here's a three. Good spot shot. That's no good. And a foul on the rebound. I think they got Kendall McFadden. Would be... No, that's Diggin Reinhardt's first on the rebound. McFadden down there as well, but first for Reinhardt, first team foul of the quarter for Lander. Lyman with 0 fouls. 11-6 Tigers. 7-minute mark of the second quarter. Lyman in transition, lost the handle, nearly out of bounds, saved into the backcourt, and then saved from an over and back very nicely by Owen Hansen. But still Lyman possession. Working right side out into the corner. Now skip pass. That's an interesting design play for a three that is up and good for Hayden Hewitt of Lyman. Eagles cut the Tigers' lead to 2. It's 11-9 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. That was a design play. That was run into the corner and then skip it all the way back across. But the Lander Tigers have an answer. I think that's Zoe Mulholland who came up with a three. She's had that look open a couple of times. Lander on top 14-9. And then forcing a turnover. Quick whistle, negating what would have been a pretty easy layup from Brianna Lincoln. We'll sort this out. Whistle was before Lincoln got the bounce pass, though. Going to end up being a foul on Lyman. Although they are still conferring with the scores table. It is an Eagles foul. And it's a second on Anna France. Something to keep an eye on as we're still early in the second quarter. Anna France, one of the key players for the Lady Eagles. Lander basketball after the Lyman foul. Tigers with a 14-9 lead. 3-pointers, 3 of them from Brianna Lincoln and 1 from Zoe Mulholland, accounting for most of the scoring. Entry pass is tracked down nicely by Lincoln. Back across the timeline with a crossover to her left. Entry pass down low. Shot up and no good off the glass. Follow is there, though, from Kendall McFadden. Tigers establishing what they like to do early, and now some more trouble for Lyman. Brianna Lincoln's going to get the pass after the Lander steal. Drive in, a double dribble that I thought was not going to be called, but it was. So Lander's going to give the ball right back. But the defense is working. Tigers 16, Lyman 9. At the 5-minute mark of the second quarter on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. A timeout, wise timeout, is taken by Lyman's bench. It's about 4 seconds had gone off the clock, and Lyman was nowhere near crossing the timeline. So, Lander Ladies 16, Lyman Eagles 9. Thanks to Fremont Chevy GMC in Riverton, supporting our local athletes. Your hard work and dedication doesn't go unnoticed. Fremont Chevy GMC here for you every step of the way at 1401 North Federal in Riverton. Also thanks to Wyoming Catholic College. Proud to cheer on our local athletes. Your dedication on and off the court is admirable. They're online at wyomingcatholic.edu. Happy that we have a broadcast for you. There was a good hour and a half, though, where it didn't look like we were going to be able to, but with some baling wire and string, or the tech version of that, we do have video, we have audio, don't have the scoreboard, so that's on me to keep that up to date for you, but it's good news for the Lander ladies with 5:14 to go in the second quarter. So far, 16-9 Tigers over the Lyman Lady Eagles. Out of Lyman's timeout, a turnover at half court. The press strikes again for Lady Tigers. Brianna Lincoln spots up off the glass. She leads all scorers with 11. The Tigers up 18-9 on Lyman. Eagles have to do it again. They are able to cross the timeline this time. then set up their offense. Working left side, outside. All three of those guards playing catch with each other. Bounce pass entry to Peyton Anderson. Nearly lost the handle, but gathered by Youngbird for Lyman. They'll call a fresh play at about the 5-minute mark of the second quarter. Tigers 18, Lyman Eagles 9. Bounce pass is nearly stolen away by Lander. Gathered back for a new play to Owen Hansen for the Lady Eagles. Kicks it up top, and now an entry pass down low on the right block is Youngbird, but that ball is stolen away by Lander. Tigers gave it back on a travel, though. That might have been Kendall McFadden getting a little bit too excited. But Lander's defense looks good. Their offense is picked up late in the first quarter and here to start the second quarter, about halfway through the second now. Tigers 18-9 on Lyman on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. First couple of minutes were a little rocky, but Lander, their defense leading to offense. Entry pass down low to Anderson. She is fouled. Let's see which Tiger they get for this foul. Free throws are coming either way for Peyton Anderson. That's Zoe Mulholland, and that's her first. Lander's second. Lyman has one foul. First free throw from Anderson. Bounces 3 times and no good. Still a 9-point lead for the Lady Tigers. 18-9, 4:32 to go in the second quarter on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Anderson's second free throw. That is good. 8-point lead for the Tigers, 18-10. 4:34 to go. Lander battling Lyman's occasional full court press. When they've had a chance to set it up in this game, it has been relatively effective. Ball inbounded, knocked out of bounds. Lander able to clear the timeline on the second effort. Penetration, now kick out. Extra pass down low to the left block is tipped out of bounds. And back to Lyman. Eagles on the inbound. Battling that Lander pressure. Gets across the timeline and a out of bounds violation, I think. Lyman player stepped out of bounds on the ball. Nope, it was tipped out of bounds by Lander. It's as far away from us on the floor as possible. So Lyman with a fresh 10 count to get the ball across the timeline. They do so. Right corner, Anderson down low for the Eagles. Turnaround. Might have been partially blocked. Lander with the ball on the defensive rebounds. Tigers cross the timeline. Here's a spot 3 that's no good. There's one Lander lady down there for the rebound against 3 white jerseys of the Eagles. Not sure if that was McFadden from here or not, but she did pull down the rebound, then couldn't keep her balance and fell, traveled in the process. So high effort play and an unfortunate turnover. Back to Lyman. They're still having trouble with that Lander pressure, though. So the Lady Eagles skip pass for a 3 on the left side. That was a big bucket for Lyman. Cuts the lead to 5, 18-13. Lander on top on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Lander looking to answer. There's another wide open 3 look from Mulholland. She hit one of those, missed a couple. That one's no good. Long rebounds. Back to Lyman, and then stolen away by Lander, but a double dribble will be called on, I think, Daisy Goklish. Trying to push the ball in transition and forgot to dribble. But Lander's done what they've wanted to do. Defense turning into offense, transition points. Big bench play from Brianna Lincoln to kind of lift the Tigers early in this game. She had 3 threes in the first quarter. Lyman running their offense to the right block. Shot is up and good, so Lyman pulls within 3. It's 15-18. Lander still with a bucket lead, 3-point lead on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Brianna Lincoln into the game to run the point. Gives it to Goggles to her right. Goggles, entry, and then kicks out. Looking for Deegan Reinhardt, top of the key. Thought about a 3 and then pulled it back. McFadden with a mid-range 2 on the left side. That is up and good for Kendall McFadden. She has 6 points on the game. Lander Tigers on top 20-15 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Ball stolen away at half court. Back to the Tigers in transition. Bounce pass. Brianna Lincoln finishes the play. Exactly what the Tigers want to do. Defense turning into offense. Lander 22, Lyman 15. A foul on the Lady. Oh, that's probably going to be on Lander. Lady Tiger foul. It will be. That is only foul number 1, though, for Daisy Goklish. Third team foul for Lander in this quarter. Lyman with 1 foul. Tigers trailing, leading by 7. Nice entry pass, but missed layup from Lyman. Gives the ball back to Lander in transition. Entry on the right side. Goggles picks it up to Deegan Reinhardt. As the ball is stolen away from her at half court. Transition layup opportunity for Lyman does fall. 22-17. Lyman hanging in, but Lander has had answers offensively. A 1 point and 9 point lead for the Lady Tigers. 22-17 again currently. Another turnover down low for Lander. They'll get Reinhardt there on the travel. Just a step off, just maybe a pass, a moment off for Lander's offense when they have been off. They do lead 22-17. Nice half-court 2-2-1 trap there. That's how that's supposed to work. Goggles with a steal. Goklish with a steal. She feeds it out for a long 3. That's no good. And a Lander foul on the rebound. This will be foul number 4 in the quarter for the Tigers. See who they got. That is number 2 for Daisy. Sophomore with her second foul. And again, no more fouls to give for Lander before double bonus free throws. 22-17, Tigers on top on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Lyman inbounding against the full court 2-2-1 of Lander. This time they do a much better job breaking it with a long pass and then a bounce to Anderson down low. Now the Lady Eagles pull it back to set up their offense. Drive in on the left side. Drawing a foul is Youngbird. That should be foul number 5 and double bonus time for the Lady Eagles. We'll have a couple of free throws coming up here for Lyman. Believe our clock is at 1:27 in the first half. But we have obstructed views of both scoreboards. First free throw is up and good. 22-18 Lander lead now. Lyman just doing everything they can to stay in this game. Second free throw, no good. Rebound is loose on the floor. It is knocked out of bounds to Lyman. A lot of hustle on both teams' parts on the long rebound, and Lyman will get another shot after pulling away the offensive rebound. Tigers by 4, minute 22 in the first half. As the Lady Eagles run their offense, left side. Boy, should have been either a travel or a foul there, but neither was called. Lander does come away with the ball, though. Out to Brianna Lincoln. The bounce pass down low that's stolen away by Lyman. And then the ball on the floor is going to find its way to Lander with Kendall McFadden. There's a 3 in the corner for Lander. That's no good. The long rebound is going to give Lyman numbers. 3-on-1 if they hurry. Bounce pass in transition. Angle was too sharp for the layup, and Lyman turns it back over to the Tigers. Comes Lander with Brianna Lincoln. Got a Reinhardt, left side out, drives left elbow into the lane, pumps, Euro step, left hand, can't finish. A foul will be called. I don't know who on the Tigers, but they did call Lander for a foul. This will be free throws. I think that's Deegan Reinhardt picking up her second. I didn't see it from up here, but that doesn't mean a thing. We're a mile in the sky here in the gym. 34 seconds on the first half clock. Tigers currently with a 22-18 lead. First free throw is up and no good for Lyman, so you have one more coming from Peyton Anderson, rather, for Lyman at the free throw line. Anderson and France, the two bigger names to watch for Lyman as this game goes on. This is Anderson at the free throw line. Second one is no good as well. Rebound is pulled down. I think Kendall McFadden. Here comes Lander in transition across the timeline. Daisy driving in and then kicking out for three. Is that Brianna Lincoln again? Brianna Lincoln has 4 of those and 15 points on the day. 25-18, Tigers on top of the Lady Eagles. Lyman trying to answer and do with a bounce pass inside to Anderson. 5 seconds left for the Tigers, now 4. Tigers up 5. Long contested, tough shot for Kendall McFadden is no good, but a solid first half for the Lander Lady Tigers. They lead 25-20 after 1 half of play. Get your first half stats. It's mostly going to be what Brianna Lincoln did off the bench, but we did have 2 other Lady Tigers in the scorebook unofficially, according to my stats, so we'll fill you in with the Wide Out Buckle Up for Life halftime show coming up right after this on 1330 KOVE and County10.com.
Watch the Tigers and Lady Tigers varsity games all season on County 10's YouTube channel.
Welcome back to Lyman High School. We're at halftime of the first of two between Lander and Lyman, with the boys' game to follow this one. Lady Tigers on top by a score 25-20. Welcome into the Y. Buckle Up for Life halftime show, reminding you that seatbelts save lives. Buckle up so you can stay in the game every time, every ride. Well, a very effective offensive first half for a couple of Tigers, notably Brianna Lincoln, who off the bench leads all scorers with 15 points by my tally. I think she had all four of those threes. No, she had three of them. 15 points for Brianna Lincoln. Kendall McFadden getting that mid-range two going a little bit with 6 points. And Zoe Mulholland is the only other Tiger I have in the scorebook, which is unofficial. That's just me keeping stats up here, but that's Zoe Mulholland, who had a three ball as well. So unofficially, Brianna Lincoln with 15, Kendall McFadden with 6, and Zoe Mulholland rounding out the 25 points that Lander scored in the first half with 3 points of her own. So a 5-point lead. Tigers over the Lyman ladies at halftime. Boys game, of course, will follow immediately after this one. Stay tuned for that for those of you back home in Fremont County and unable to get away. About the 3-hour drive. That's what we're happy to do for you and bring you the action as best we can. For those of you watching, once again, any new viewers, no scoreboard, all kinds of technical difficulties, but creative solutions were found, and we were able to get the video out. I hope that's streaming for you okay, and the audio back to our listeners on 1330 KOVE and 107.7 FM in Lander. As long as you got the basketball game, that's all that really matters. We'll keep doing a good job, hopefully, of updating the score for you. And we are about 3 minutes away from the second half getting underway. Once again, bit of a shaky start, a little bit, just kind of touch and go. Wouldn't even say shaky start, but just getting into the rhythm of the game, I think, for the Lander ladies in the first part of the first quarter. And then that's where it helps. As head coach Drew Powell has told us many times, it helps to have that balanced team. You want to have 2 or 3 scorers that you can really depend on game in and game out. Daisy Goklish being one of those, Hayden Goggles being one of those. According to my stat sheet, neither of those ladies have any points in the first half, and so someone like Brianna Lincoln comes in off the bench to add 15 of Lander's 25, and then you can get your usual scores, if you will, going in the second half. That would be the plan of attack for Lander, which in a way is good news for the Tigers when your usual scores haven't done their thing yet. You know that's coming eventually. Lyman has done a good job to stay in the game throughout, but it is a 5-point Lander Tiger advantage, as we'll take one more timeout and come back for the second half between Lander and Lyman. 1st and 2 with the girls on top by 5 at halftime on the Y. Buckle Up for Life halftime show, reminding you that seatbelts save lives. Buckle up so you can stay in the game every time, every ride. Back after this on 1330 KOVE and county10.com.
The Tigers play here. KOVE Radio.
Start of quarter number 3 from Lyman High School. The Lady Tigers and the Eagles. Lander Ladies on top as of halftime, 25-20. As we are underway in the third quarter, Deegan Reinhardt has a mid-range 2. Good look, but she came up a little bit short. Comes Lyman back in transition with a nice steal out of that 2-2-1 press. I think that was Kendall McFadden gathering that and then giving it up to her left. There's a long 3. That's no good. Lander trying for transition points on the first 2 possessions. Not hitting so far, so the lead remains 5 for the Tigers. Owen Hansen running the offense for the Lyman Ladies. Starts out left side. Hansen well away from the basket. We've seen this a lot against Lander, trying to draw the defense outside in that half-court set well away from the basket. The steal will go to Deegan Reinhardt. Lander forcing another turnover, now trying to convert points in transition. Leaning, getting the bucket to fall with a free throw coming, count it, and one for Daisy Goklish. Mentioned during the Wide Out Buckle Up for Life halftime show that your typical scores for the Lady Tigers are not on the score sheet yet, but that's going to change. Daisy with a 2 with a chance to add the free throw. Oh no, this will be a lane violation against Lander. That was Hayden Goggles, who's just beating herself up right now because she lost her balance on the block and fell into the lane. Nothing she could do to stop it. Nowhere to go after that, and so no free throw following the 2 from Daisy Goklish with a lane violation. But a 27-20 Lander lead, and here's another Lander turnover. Lyman having a lot of difficulty with that 2-2-1 press of Landers here to start the second half as well. 3 from Deegan Reinhardt. That's no good. I don't mind Lander firing away, though. Those shots are going to start falling eventually. Here's a 3 in the corner for Lyman. They need that bucket. No good, but the rebound's tracked down by Anderson. Spot 3 from Owen Hansen is no good. And Mulholland eventually comes away with a board for the Lady Tigers. Tigers up 27-20 over Lyman on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Now 2 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Left alone for a wide open 3, so why not was Reinhardt. That's no good. Long rebounds pulled down nicely by Mulholland. Zoe picks up her dribble well away from the basket. They're giving Deegan Reinhardt that 3 all day. She's tried several of them. Cutter in the lane is McFadden. That's up and good. Kendall McFadden with 8 points. And the Lander Ladies lead by 9. 29-20 here in Lyman. Steal from behind in transition. Knocked out of bounds. Daisy Goklish with a nice anticipation play. Eventually knocks it out of bounds, but it'll force Lyman to inbound again. Once again, 9-point Lander advantage. A couple of minutes gone by in the second half. Lyman inbounding from the corner, away from their bench. Bounce pass to Anderson, stolen away by Lander. Here come the Tigers in transition. This time it's Goggles with a crossover. And stopping, Deegan Reinhardt left wide open. Haven't seen anyone with that strategy against Lander yet. Deegan Reinhardt has that 3 all day if she wants it. Passes it up and inside to Goggles. Now here's Deegan with a long 2 from the free throw line. That one's no good. Lander firing away. Hitting enough so far. They lead 29-20 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Coming up on the 5-minute mark of the third quarter. As Lyman runs their offense with Anna France. To her left is Hansen. Hansen gives it, gets it back. Longer offensive possession now for the Lady Eagles. Left side outside, now an entry pass. Down low, looking for Anderson. Lost the handle, out of bounds to Lander. Defensively, pretty solid effort from about the first half of the first quarter, let's say. But since then, the 2-2-1 has worked. The set defense has worked for Lander. Offense is just fire away when you're open. And they've hit enough, have the Lander Ladies. Here in transition, they'll lose the handle, though. Back to Owen Hansen for Lyman. Eagles in transition. Desperate need of points here before this gets out of hand in Lander's favor. 29-20. Tigers on top. Owen Hansen with the ball knocked out of bounds. Stays with the Lady Eagles. Nice defensive play there by Daisy Goklish. Lady Eagles will inbound from just in front of their bench. Near travel that wasn't called, but then ball thrown out of bounds. So moot point back to the Tigers. Yeah, I thought maybe Owen Hansen dragged her pivot foot there, but again, not called. Doesn't matter. Turnover in the next second of play gets the ball back to the Lady Tigers. Lander up by 9. Deegan Reinhardt almost doesn't know what to do when she's left that wide open. Tries in for a drop step in the lane, and then that shot's no good. Offensive foul is going to be called here against Lander. They got Deegan for that one as well. So that's her first team foul. Reinhardt's going to have a seat. I think that's Kendall McFadden into the game then for the Tigers to replace her. I don't believe any other Tiger is in any kind of foul trouble here about halfway through the third quarter. Reinhardt's third foul. Lyman across the timeline. Able to break that 2-2-1 this time for the moment. We'll start left side. Now swing it back to the right. Tigers still lead by 9. Owen Hansen gets to the left corner. Now gets it back inside to Anderson. Turnaround. Big shot for Lyman. Cuts the Lander lead to 7. 29-22 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Tigers with the entry pass inside. I think that's Paisley Hollingshead, excuse me. Paisley Hollingshead checked into the game from McFadden. So Paisley with a runner that was no good. Tigers by 7, 29-22 as Lyman runs their set offense from Anna France. Well, Anna's going to get bailed out a little bit with a foul call that Hayden Goggles didn't like, but Goggles will lose that discussion. She'll pick up her first foul. Second team foul for the Tigers. Inbound to an uncovered Anderson who missed the shot. That was a big opportunity for Lyman, and now Lander in transition. Brianna Lincoln for 3 again. Why not? She's got 4 of them. That shot's no good. Now back to the Lyman ladies in transition. Runner, tough shot in the lane. That's no good. Rebound fought for, then thrown out. Somehow come down by a white jersey. It was Anna France, who then lost the ball midair going for a shot. Gives it up to Owen Hansen for a 3. That's no good. Rebound finally pulled down by Daisy Goklish. And a timeout. I think that came from Lander's bench. Just double check that. That was a timeout taken by Lander. We'll take it with him back after this on 1330 KOVE and County10.com.
Watch today's games on the County 10 YouTube channel or catch radio coverage on KOVE 1330 AM 1077 FM.
Third quarter action from Lyman High School. Lander ladies up by 7 over the Lady Eagles as Lander inbounds following a full timeout from head coach Drew Powell. May have drawn up this play in that timeout. Nearly worked as a mid-range 2 was taken by Goklish and missed. So Lyman with a rebound, 1-and-done possession for the Tigers. Lander up 29-22, 2.5 to go in the third quarter on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Lyman running their offense on the left side out. Entry pass down low is blocked. Paisley Hollingshead got a piece of that, and out of bounds back to Lyman. She may have tipped that twice, second time out of bounds. Lyman on the inbound with a good look in and out from Fallon Youngberg. Lander getting some basketball shooting breaks here too. Lander in transition. It's Paisley Hollingshead with her foot on the line. That's no good. Offensive rebounds. There for the putback was Hayden Goggles. And Lander leads 31-22 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Lyman, entry pass to the right elbow. Now kicked out 3 in the left wing. That's no good. And there's Goggles pulling down a strong rebound. Outletting to her right. Lincoln back to Goggles. Goggles to Paisley Hollingshead. Drives up left elbow, toward the left elbow anyway, with Brianna Lincoln on the bounce pass. Back to Goggles. Sweeping, tough left-handed shot from Hayden Goggles. Nice finish. 33-22, largest lead of the game for the Lady Tigers. Up by 11. 1:10 to go in the third quarter. Flying in, committing the foul. That's a get your money's worth kind of foul there from Hayden Goggles. She's not going to argue that one. Plenty of contact there. Hayden picks up her second. Was a shooting foul, just 3 team fouls on Lander this quarter, but in the act of shooting was Owen Hansen, so she'll take her first free throw and make it. Cuts the Lander lead to 10, 33-23. And the second free throw is no good. Rebound is pulled down. I think that's still Hollingshead in the game. Between the green jerseys with the black numbering and the ponytails, can be difficult at times. This is Brianna Lincoln with a sweeper in the lane. That's no good. Brianna Lincoln, though, is having a game. 4 threes in the first half. Lead scores with 15. Tigers by 10, under a minute to go in the third quarter. Entry pass to Anderson. Double team down low. Puts up a shot, no good. Rebound is pulled down by Lander with 45 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Brianna Lincoln across the timeline for the Tigers. Gets some help from Daisy Goklish, who drives in from the left elbow. Some contact. Good job by Daisy, drawing the foul. Couldn't finish, but Goklish to the line with a couple of free throws coming. 35 seconds on the third quarter clock. First free throw from Goklish, who has 2 points on the night so far, is good. Got the shooter's roll. Extends the Tiger lead back up to 11, 34-23. Approaching the 30-second mark of the third quarter from Lyman. Second free throw from Goklish. No good. Strong offensive rebound, though, and a putback. That's no good. Second offensive bite at the apple for Lander with a kick out. Pump fake. I think that's Addie Rounds into the game. Missed a long 2. Ball still on the floor. Lyman eventually comes away with it and draws a foul. I think that is going to be a Lander foul. It's their fourth, none to give, with 22 seconds remaining in the third quarter. And they did get Addie Rounds, who was checked into the game. That's only her first. 20 seconds as Lyman inbounds. Third quarter action here from Lyman High School. Lander leading by 11. 13 seconds. Now 10 seconds. Here's a 3 from Hewitt. That is no good. 4 seconds with the offensive rebound from Anderson. 2 seconds. Now 1. 3 is good if it goes at the buzzer. That is no good. So our score after 3, Lander 34, Lyman 23. Back with the final quarter after this on 1330 KOVE and County10.com.
The Tigers play here. KOVE Radio.
Got 2 games for you tonight from Lyman High School. Boys to follow. The Lander ladies looking to close out. They lead 34-23 in the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Controlling most of the game so far has Lander. Just 8 minutes to go. Lander's lead is 11. Lyman with the basketball at the quarter change. Start of the fourth, have the Eagles inbounding to Anna France. Nearly stolen away by Daisy Goklish. But she retains possession, gets the ball back. Now bounces between the legs of Anna France. Strong defense from Daisy Goklish, forcing it over and back. Daisy Goklish putting on a clinic in set point guard defense there, forcing a turnover. Back to Lander, their first possession of the fourth quarter. And the Tigers have an 11-point lead. Brianna Lincoln on the inbound of the backcourt. Now to the top of the key. Lincoln thought about going left, now gets it right wing. Bounce pass down low. And now into the corner. Here's a long 2 that's no good. Offensive rebound fought for. Jump ball, I think, should be Lander's. Possession arrow is with the Tigers. 34-23. About 30 seconds gone by in the fourth quarter. As Lander inbounds under the basket. Paisley Hollingshead gets the inbound from underneath. Gets it up top. I think that's Kendall McFadden, who drives in and is fouled. That is Kendall McFadden. It is a good thing I've seen just about every Lander girls game this year because I like these jerseys, but they're real tough to read. With the ponytails and everything else. They're working for Lander tonight, though, off of the inbound. Shot is no good, and the jump ball this time will go back to Lyman. 34-23, Tigers on top, Lady Eagles with possession. Working against the 2-2-1 press. Brianna Lincoln is back there for Lander. Lyman in danger of a 10-second count, but they do cross the timeline. Owen Hansen for the Eagles. 7-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Lander up by 11. Anderson found herself open down low, so she drops in a little bit closer and gets a big bucket for Lyman. Tigers 34, Lyman 25. Brianna Lincoln working against a full court press of Lyman's now. Lander does cross the timeline. Paisley Hollingshead into the corner for Addie Rounds. Gives it up to her right to Hollingshead. Now to Lincoln, who lost the handle, got it back. Needs some help. Finds it at the top of the key. Swings it out for a 3. Drawn contact is, I think that was Paisley Hollingshead. So Hollingshead got the ball. She was unguarded at the 3-point line. Wasn't comfortable from shooting there, so she not only drove in for a closer look, but leaned into the defender to make sure she drew that foul. We'll need a couple of free throws for Hollingshead. First one's no good. 34-25 Lander advantage. Game 1 of 2, Lyman and Lander boys coming up next. Substitution brings Anna France out of the game for Lyman, and now a timeout before free throw number 2 is taken by Lyman. So Hollingshead has a free throw out of the timeout. We'll take it with them. Back right after this on 1330 KOVE and County10.com.
Watch the Tigers and Lady Tigers varsity games all season on County 10's YouTube channel.
Glad to have you with us from Lyman as we're in the fourth quarter of the first two games between the Tigers and the Eagles. Lander ladies on top of Lyman, 34-25, with Paisley Hollingshead with a free throw coming out of the Lyman timeout. Second free throw is also no good. Lyman with a rebound. Eagles need some points if they're going to make a run at the Tigers here. Lead is 9 for Lander. Lyman across the timeline looking for a backdoor cut from Fallon Youngbird, who is fouled. A couple of free throws coming up for Youngbird. See which Tiger they got on the foul. That will be Addie Rounds, which is not a bad thing for the Tigers. It's only her second. Don't want to get any of the other ladies on the floor in foul trouble. Don't believe anybody is, with the exception of Deegan Reinhardt, who has 3 fouls. First free throw is up and good. 34-26 pending the second free throw. Lander on top. 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Second free throw is no good. Rebound fought for and come away with by Lander. Tigers setting up their offense with Deegan Reinhardt back into the game with those 3 fouls we just mentioned. Paisley Hollingshead getting some extra minutes in this game. Bounced pass to her teammate that was stolen away. Ball back to the Lady Eagles, working their offense from the left side. Here's a 3 from Anderson. No good. Long rebound is pulled down by Owen Hansen. That follow is no good. Lyman comes away with a second offensive rebound. This time puts in a mid-range 2 from Fallon Youngbird. 34-28 Tiger advantage. Coast to coast driving in was Goggles. Dished it out to, was that Goklish, who traveled, was called for the travel way away from us in the corner. So a turnover back to Lyman. That was Kendall McFadden. Tagged with a travel. Lyman closing in, 34-28. Lander with time to set up their 2-2-1 press. Initially broken across the timeline by Lyman. Looks like they will set up their set offense with Smith. One of the better press breaks we've seen from Lyman so far this game. Lander's 2-2-1 has been pretty effective. Lyman able to run their set offense way away from the basket. Again, we've seen this a lot against Lander's ladies, just trying to create a space in the middle. Draw the defense out just like that to get a look inside, but the shot from inside is no good. Lincoln comes away with the ball for Lander. Tigers with a 34-28 lead. Reinhardt eyed along 2. Instead dribbles to the left elbow. Gives it up top. 4-minute mark upcoming here in the fourth quarter. Reinhardt along the baseline. Picked up her dribble. With the ball to Goggles. Goggles picks up her dribble left elbow. Back to Reinhardt. Don't mind Lander taking a bunch of time here if you finish the possession with points. Goggles took a little contact, no call, picked up her dribble, gives to Reinhardt for a long 3. That is no good. Rebound is saved inbounds by Lyman. So an empty possession for the Tigers. Tigers leading by 6. 4 minutes to go now in the fourth quarter. And a timeout will be taken by Lyman. We'll take it with them. Tigers on top, 34-28 down the stretch in the fourth quarter against Lyman. Back after this on 1330 KOVE and County10.com.
Watch the Tigers and Lady Tigers varsity games all season on County 10's YouTube channel.
Lander ladies trying to close out here in the fourth quarter. They are up on Lyman 34-28 with under 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, but Lyman with a basketball trying a long bomb of a three that falls. That was a big bucket for Lyman. Owen Hansen put up a prayer, and it was answered. Cuts the lead to 3, and now a turnover by Lander in transition. Gives the Lady Eagles back the basketball. Lyman closing in. Down to a one-possession game, 34-31, with 3:33 to go in the fourth quarter. Lyman trying to draw out the Lander defense in their half-court set. Here's Anna France, who's checked back into the game for the Lady Eagles. Gives it to her right to Eden Smith. Long, dangerous skip passes, indeed stolen away by Lander. And now an outlet to Brianna Lincoln as the Tigers trying to force in transition. Brianna Lincoln is double-teamed up there at the top of the key. Gives it up to her left, and Lyman backs off. 3-minute mark upcoming of the fourth quarter. Tegan Reinhardt driving in, all the way down to the right block. Skips it out to Kendall McFadden in the left corner. And now back up to Brianna Lincoln. Lander slows things down. It's a 3-point basketball game. Coming up on 2.5. Lander is just hanging on to the basketball. Game's going right now. Lyman refuses to get within that defender perimeter until finally now they do. The Tigers able to drain about 20 seconds of game time, and a foul is going to be called on Lyman. I've not seen that strategy all game long, whether it's Reinhardt that's in there, whoever that four guard is at any moment for Lander. They just put Anderson, who would be the counterpart, kind of the center for Lyman, under the basket. And a good example on that last possession of just hanging onto the ball. You don't have to do anything with it unless someone's within a couple of feet of you defensively. So Lander able to drain some clock, 2:20 to go. Tigers with the ball up by 3. 34-31 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Lander running their half-court offense with Brianna Lincoln, who threw it to nobody. She was expecting something other than what she got. No-look pass out of bounds to the Lander bench, so back to Lyman. Eagles with the ball trailing by 3. Entry pass to Anderson down low with 2 minutes. Is that right? That is right. 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Tigers protecting a 3-point lead, but a Tiger foul will be on the floor. No free throws coming yet for Lander. In fact, that's only their second. It's Daisy Goklish's third personal foul. So no free throws. Lyman inbounding. Ball is nicely tipped away. I think that was Reinhardt who had her back to the play, but got her hand in there where she thought the ball might be. Leads to a turnover back to Lander. So now the Tigers want to treat this. It's a skip pass to the right corner. Back left side to Brianna Lincoln. Bounce pass toward the left baseline. Now back up to Lincoln. 1.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Tigers by 3 with a basketball. Brianna Lincoln gave it up to her right. Now Deegan Reinhardt way away from the basket. Gets the ball to Goggles and a timeout. See who took that timeout. I think that might have been Coach Powell of Lander. That was a timeout taken by Drew Powell to draw up some offense here. Thanks to Perfect Power Electric in Lander, supporting our athletes on and off the field. Give Perfect Power a call for all your electric needs at 332-7184. Also, thanks to Porter's Mountain View Supply in Riverton, your one-stop shop for grills, spas, stoves, pellets, and more. Porter's a proud supporter of Fremont County athletes. This is where being blocked by the scoreboard is not ideal. We have 1:26, I believe, in the fourth quarter on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. 34-31 Lander will have the basketball after the Coach Powell timeout. Protecting a 3-point lead. Lander wants to drain some clock here. Pretty important to get points at the end of the possession. See how the Tigers handle this. Inbound from Goggles. It's Goklish up top. Back to Goggles, who is left wide open, but she passes on the shot. That's some restraint there from Hayden Goggles to not take the shot. Ball is on the floor. That should be out of bounds to Lander. That's an excellent call. Before any tie-up, the Lyman player who was in contact with the ball had her body out of bounds, which is out of bounds. So back to the Tigers. Trouble with the inbound again. Now the ball's on the floor, and this time Lyman's going to come away with it cleanly. And a foul, I think, Brianna Lincoln in transition. So that'll be a Lander foul. It was Lincoln. That's only her first. 3 team fouls apiece here in the quarter. We are under a minute to go. 58 seconds remaining on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. That is correct. 55 now. Lyman with the ball, trailing by 3. Anderson, free throw line for the Eagles. Back up top to Owen Hansen. Right side to Smith. Smith drives in, and a whistle with a timeout. I think that's a Lyman timeout. It's a full timeout, but this time we're going to keep it right here with 44.1 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. So out of this full timeout, Tigers will be playing defense with a 3-point lead. Myers Gambles, back home on Main Street in Lander, excited to cheer on our student athletes. Gambles has winning deals, and remember, delivery is free within 30 miles of the store. That does include Riverton, so turn around, shop in town. Bailey Tire and Auto, a proud supporter of our local athletes. Full-service tire and auto shops, 755 South Federal in Riverton, 1305 West Main in Lander. Be nice to have a Bailey Tire and Auto down here in Lyman. I think there is a gas station. I've yet to find it, but I think there is one in Lyman. Small community off the interstate here in southwest Minnesota. Population about 3,000, I believe. Lyman Lady Eagles have had a chance to see both the boys and the girls teams in tournament play so far this year. Lyman has just taken a timeout. They'll inbound from under the basket. Lander leading by 3. 44 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter as Lyman inbounds. Looking for Anderson up top. Brianna Lincoln nearly got a steal, but she was outsized up there at the top of the key. So here's a long 3 to tie the game for Lyman. That's good. We have a tie game at 34. 33 seconds remaining with the Lander inbounds. 29 seconds, 28. Goggles trying to clear the timeline. Finally does. And spins. Left side outside. All tied up. Reinhardt driving in with 3 fouls. Lost the ball out of bounds. Back to Lyman. So that's 16 or 18 seconds left. 16 seconds left on the fourth quarter clock in a tie game. Lyman inbounding against Lander's full court 2-2-1. 12 seconds, now 10 as Lyman finally does cross the timeline with 8 seconds, now 7. And a foul is called on Lander. It's an okay foul. Lander has 1 to give. There will not be free throws as a result of that. It's actually a pretty smart foul from Daisy Goklish. It is her 4th. And now Lander does have none to give. Is that 8 seconds or 6? We're all tied up at 34 on the inbound. 6 seconds left. Lander with a steal with 3 seconds, now 2. Goggles driving in. This is good if it goes for the win. No good. Hayden Goggles got exactly what she wanted. A steal on the inbound with about 5 seconds remaining. Drove the full length of the floor, wasn't even looking to pass. She had plenty of time to get the shot up. She didn't have an angle on the backboard. Had to put that up straight away from the left block. Got rim a couple of times, but fell out. So it was a 11-point lead for the Tigers. Has closed to overtime. Got to credit Lyman for closing the distance in the fourth quarter. Credit Lander with a solid second and third quarter. And we'll see what the Tigers have in overtime. All tied up at 34. Boys and both the boys' teams are in their respective corners. Getting ready to get this one going. So we're going to have a 4-minute overtime here. As the teams get final instructions from their benches. Halfway down the floor, if you'd asked me to make a friendly wager on whether or not Daisy was going to close out that game, I would have said, yeah, she had plenty of time Only thing she didn't have because of the angle she had to take was any backboard to put the ball off of, but Daisy gave it a good run. Couldn't get it to go from the side. Excuse me, that was Hayden Goggles on the final effort there by Lander. That's some free basketball. 4 minutes on the overtime clock. And we'll jump at half court. Lander and Lyman girls, first 2 games here tonight, all tied up at 34 after regulation. Tip is one back to the Tigers. Lander starts with Daisy Goklish, who's looking to drive in left side. Instead, pulls it back out to Goggles. Goggles back to Goklish, left side out. Finds Goggles in the corner, who puts up a shot. That's no good. Driving into the lane. A foul is going to be called on Lander. A couple of players fighting for the rebound after the miss. And Lander will give up their 5th. In the overtime period, all the previous fouls and timeout situation carries over. So that is team foul number 5 for Lander, and it does mean free throws for the Lady Eagles. By the way, Lyman with 3 team fouls. They have 1 more to give. And the first free throw for the lead for Lyman is no good. Still tied at 34. Second free throw. Also no good. Rebounds pulled away by Goggles for Lander. Lyman unable without time to get their press set up, so it's an easy across the timeline for Deegan Reinhardt with 3:30 to go in the overtime. Still tied at 34. Lander running their set offense with Reinhardt in the corner. She's driving in, kind of feeling out the defense to the left elbow. Here's a mid-range 2 off the glass. No good, just a little bit too strong from Goklish, and Lyman comes away with the rebounds. Both the Lander shot attempts in the OT have been good shots. Just haven't found the bottom of the net, but here's a turnover back to Lander. It's travel by Lyman. Still tied at 34. 3:11 to go. Reinhardt inbounding for the Tigers to Brianna Lincoln. She has 4 3-pointers in this game. Brianna Lincoln dives back into the right corner. Eyes the 3, thought about it twice. Now drives in from that right baseline. Spin around, blocked. Good defensive play there from Addison Smith. Gets the ball back to Lyman. Still tied at 34. Scoreless in the overtime so far. 2:43 to go in the extra frame. Lyman running their offense with Lander's boys team as well as the Lander girls bench into the game. Making some noise here at Lyman High School. 2.5 to go. Backdoor cut is knocked out of bounds by Daisy Goklish. Ball is to Lyman, but they'll force the Lady Eagles to inbound. Once again, tied up at 34. Partially obstructed view of the scoreboard, which is driving me nuts here in the fourth quarter and overtime. But 2:27, I think, on the overtime clock. Turnaround from Anderson is no good. Still scoreless in the overtime. Still tied at 34. Lander with the basketball across the timeline with Goggles. Got on the same page with Reinhardt at the left elbow. Right side, outside, I think that's McFadden. Gets it to Goggles. Leaning in, tough angle, no good. Rebound is free, pulled down by Addison Smith for Lyman. Under 2 minutes in the overtime now. Nobody has scored any points in the OT. Here's a steal. Daisy Goklish changes that. Daisy with a layup in transition after the steal. Lander on top, 36-34. I think the clock says 1:10. Runner on the baseline, a lot of contact, no call. Now a very late whistle and an offensive foul is called on Lyman. There's plenty of contact as the Lyman player dove in. You have to call something. And that went the Tigers' way. Offensive foul is going to be the 3rd on Anna France. Goklish off of the inbound. She has the only points in the OT. So Lander leads by 2 with 1.5 to go in the overtime. Brianna Lincoln for the Tigers. Gives it up to Goggles to her right. Now Reinhardt, well away from the basketball. It's the play that Lyman has run against Lander all day. Goggles diving in, gives it up for a three. That's no good. Rebound is pulled down by Anderson. Lyman retains possession, and a timeout taken by the Lady Eagles. Tigers with the only 2 points in the overtime with 1 minute and 7 seconds, I think is what we're showing on the scoreboard here at Lyman High School, left in the OT. So down to the wire. Lyman's going to have the basketball when we come out of the timeout, but the Tigers have a 2-point lead. I want to thank all our sponsors again. Bailey Tire and Auto, Myers Gambles on Main Street in Lander, Porter's, Mountain View Supply in Riverton, Fremont Chevy, GMC, YDOT, Perfect Power, Wyoming Catholic College, and so many other great businesses all over Fremont County that make these broadcasts possible. Appreciate the patience of those of you on the YouTube stream. We had a very unforeseen and, let's just say technical difficulties with some of our hardware. Not allowing a scoreboard for you, not allowing any graphics or commercials. Hopefully we've done a good job of keeping you up with the score. It's been important in this game as we're in overtime, the first of two between Lander and Lyman. Boys coming up next. Tigers up 36-34 with 1:07 to go in the overtime. It's going to be Lyman ball out of the timeout. Lyman trailing by 11 at one point in this game, doing a good job in the fourth quarter of staying with Lander and coming back after Lander really had the momentum in the second and third quarters. Kind of started to pull away. The Eagles had a couple of big shots down the stretch. Forced the game to overtime. And here we are with 1 minute 7 remaining. Lyman ball trailing by 2. Tigers 36, Eagles 34. Inbounds out of the Lyman timeout. As a give and get back to Addison Smith. There's the 60-second mark of overtime. Anna France driving in. It's that set play that they ran once before. This time it doesn't work. That's a long two, and Lander has numbers down the floor. Tigers are going to hold it up, though, to Brianna Lincoln with 44 seconds left. And now Lyman's going to have to foul. So the Tigers should be able to put this one away if you make the free throws. 42 seconds left on the overtime clock. Tigers with a 2-point advantage, and Hayden Goggles, who had a chance to win it at the end of regulation with a tough shot, missed that, but has a chance for a bucket in overtime at the free throw line, but missed the first. Still a 2-point Lander lead, 42 seconds remaining in the overtime. Second free throw from Goggles. That's good. Lander lead is 3. 42 seconds. Lyman inbounding full court. No pressure by Lander to speak of. Lyman pulling the Lander defense away from the basket with Owen Hansen just about half court. Owen lost the handle but got it back. 30 seconds remaining in the overtime. Peyton Anderson down low is fouled on the shot. Whoa, wait a minute. Peyton Anderson was called with a travel. That's turnover back to Lander. Thought for sure that was going to be a Lander foul and Peyton Anderson was shooting free throws, but that's a travel for Lyman. Gets the ball back to Lander with 26 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Tigers up by 3 as they inbound. Lyman with time to set up their pressure, and Goklish is fouled. Back down the other way for Lander free throw attempts. Just a couple of seconds off the clock. 25.4, I think, is what we're reading on the scoreboard. 3-point lead for the Tigers. Pretty big free throws coming up for Daisy Goklish. Double bonus, so she'll get 2. And the first one is good. That's a big one. Extends the lead to 4. Second free throw for Goklish is also good. Lander by 5, 39-34 in the overtime. Lyman inbounding, 24 seconds remaining as they cross the timeline. 20 seconds. Owen Hansen with a 3 for Lyman. No good. Lander with the rebounds. Lyman has to foul, and they will. 14.2 seconds remaining. Lander with a 5-point lead can pretty much put this one away with a couple of free throws. It's Deegan Reinhardt to the line for Lander. Unofficial score tally up here, and she's been in foul trouble here and there, so sat on the bench a little bit more than usual, but these might be her first points according to my tally if she makes them. First one is no good. So Lander's lead remains 5, 14.2 remaining on the fourth quarter, overtime clock rather. Second free throw from Reinhardt is no good. Couple of bounces now, so Lyman's still alive with 12 seconds remaining, but they trail by 5. Need to put up a shot quickly. The 7, now 6. Brianna Lincoln has a steal, and she's fouled. 5.8 remaining. Lander to the free throw line with a 5-point lead. 39-34. Brianna Lincoln, 4 3-pointers in the first half. Can't make the first free throw. Big, too, because she made him off the bench, but also nobody else for Lander, who usually is scoring by halftime, had really gotten going yet. So Brianna Lincoln lifted her team up and gave them a chance to catch up a little bit. Second free throw from Lincoln with 16 points on the night is good. 6-point lead with 4 seconds remaining. Lander's going to hold on to win this game in overtime. Technically, we're going to have to inbound after that shot went out of bounds. 0.5 seconds remaining. But Lander with a 40-34 lead. So Lyman one more inbounds with a 3 in the corner. That is no good. And the Lander Lady Tigers up by 11. Lyman fighting back in the fourth quarter. It went to overtime. The Landers ladies come away with a 6-point win in OT in Lyman. 40-34, the final score. We'll wrap up the scoring numbers we do have from the Lander game, the girls game, and to come back for Lander boys and Lyman in the second game of our doubleheader coming up next here on 1330 KOVE and County10.com.
Proud to support Lander Valley High School. We are KOVE.
Intermission here in Lyman as we are between games. Lander Tigers and the Lyman Eagles, first of two, went down to the wire. In fact, went to overtime as we welcome you back to the broadcast here on the Bailey Tire and Auto post-game show. Thanks to Bailey Tire and Auto, a proud supporter of local athletes. Full-service tire and auto shops at 755 South Federal in Riverton and 1305 West Main in Lander. Lander Lady Tigers leading by 11 at one point in their game against Lyman. Eagles clawing back in, forcing overtime. But the Lander Ladies, with a productive overtime, win 40-34 in the OT. Scoring numbers unofficially from our broadcast vantage point up here, way up in the rafters at Lyman High School. What a game for Brianna Lincoln, specifically that first half. I think all four of her threes came in the first half, getting the Lander Ladies a much-needed boost as the rest of the team got going offensively. So Brianna Lincoln finishing with 16 points off the bench. Again, many of those coming from beyond the arc in the first half. Also contributing for the Lander Ladies, Kimball McFadden with 8. I have Daisy Goklish finishing with 5. Hayden Goggles with 4. Zoe Mulholland with 3. And those are unofficial, but those are the scoring numbers that I have from the first game. Lander Tiger boys coming up next against Lyman. This will be their first meeting of the year, I do believe. These two teams were in Rollins together, but they didn't play each other at the Rollins Winter Classic. And the Lander boys are coming off a productive weekend, although it was strange. It was strange for both the boys and the girls. They both got victories in conference play against Mountain View on Friday of last week. Wheatland was the scheduled opponent last Saturday, and neither of those games happened because those games were canceled, as were most games in the county due to travel advisories last weekend. Didn't matter as much for Lander. They're not going to have to make up that game against Wheatland unless they somehow find it convenient down the road. But that was a non-conference game. Mountain View was a conference game. So that is one they wanted to get in. They did. Obviously, both teams wanted to win that matchup against Mountain View. They did. The boys and the girls sweeping the weekend and then got the unexpected extra day of rest on Saturday with the weather being the way it was, canceling the Wheatland game. So that is a 2-game winning streak for the Lander boys dating back to the Rollins Classic. They got the victory in the last game of the tournament after losing the first two. Lander won over Rollins, the host team, in that tournament, and then got the victory over Mountain View last Friday. So the Tigers are going to, the Tiger boys going to try and make it 3 in a row here in Lyman on a Thursday night. Glad to have you with us. Streaming at county10.com, and we'll take one more break for our radio listeners on 1330 KOVE. Come back for game 2 of our doubleheader. Once again, the Lander girls in overtime, 40-34 over the Lyman Lady Eagles. Boys game coming up next on 1330 KOVE and county10.com.
Lander Basketball is on the air. With coverage of today's games, here's Scott Fuller.
Very pleasant, good Thursday evening, everyone. Welcome back to Lyman High School for Game 2 of our doubleheader with the Lyman Eagles and the Lander Tigers. Scott Fuller with you after a exciting, productive start to the night. Lander ladies with a 40-34 overtime victory in Game 1. We'll hope that streak continues. Hopefully the Lander boys can get it done in regulation. Hopefully we won't need an overtime for Game 2, but we are here to bring it to you on 1330 KOVE and streaming at county10.com. For those of you watching on the YouTube and at county10.com, we are without graphics this evening, technical issues. So we don't have a scoreboard for you. We don't have anything else. We don't have commercials. We don't have all the bells and whistles we like to bring you and that we work hard on. But we do have video and we have audio. And we have a basketball game, and that's all you need.
And number 22, Noah St. Clair.
Starting lineups are being announced. I'm just catching up with what number Keaton Iron Eyes wants to be wearing today. So we'll get you the starters here on the fly. Iron Eyes wearing number 14. So he must have a home jersey of 24 and a road jersey of 14. Haven't seen that in a long time. But starters for Lander will be Bell, Gwynna, I believe, Playstead, Iron Eyes, and Noah St. Clair.
Number 12, Jenna Maxfield.
As Lyman starters are being announced.
Good luck to both teams.
So with the overtime, we're about 20 minutes behind schedule, an abbreviated warm-up for both teams, but everybody is stretched out, ready to go, and we're ready to bring it to you. Another conference matchup. Lander has won two in a row, against Rollins and against Mountain View last Friday. Looking for a conference victory here tonight as well. The tip is one to Lyman, or toward Lyman, out of bounds. And it will be Lander basketball. Porter Playstead doing the inbounding for the Tigers to Peyton Bell. Peyton Bell lost the handle, and this will be a transition opportunity for Lyman. Spinning in the lane is Coulter DeWitt, who is fouled and got the shot to go. Quick bucket for Lyman, and a free throw attempt coming from Lyman's big man. Coulter DeWitt is going to present at least some kind of a size matchup for Gavin Romer when Gavin comes in off of the bench for Lander. He gave Mountain View fits last Friday, just by virtue of being an offensive lineman. Free throw is no good, but Lyman with a quick 2-0 advantage. About 30 seconds gone by in the first quarter here from Lyman. Peyton Bell, ISO, right side outside, turns around to the right elbow. Gives it up to Playstead, now Iron Eyes, back to Peyton Bell. Bell resets the offense, strongest defender out. Iron Eyes right side outside. Skip back to Peyton Bell. Peyton back to Iron Eyes. Iron Eyes with a stutter step, driving in, right elbow, not enough on the shot. Rebound back to Lyman. Eagles pushing the issue in transition before Lander can set up any kind of a press. They do like to do that, just like the girls team does. Lyman with good ball rotation around the outside. Skip pass from right corner to left, and now they'll reset the offense. 2-0 Lyman on top. Minute gone by here in the first quarter. Hayden Jackson, big man down low is DeWitt. Here's a spot three, top of the key. That's no good. Long rebound bounces to Lyman. Hayden Jackson with a follow mid-range, and it's 4-0 Eagles. Fortunate bounce for the Eagles there off the rebound, and Jackson doing a good job to finish the play. But Lyman turns it right back over. Some of that full court pressure causing problems for Lyman. Turnover by Lander, and back to the Eagles. All nearly lost out of bounds. The possession retained. Eagles with the ball up 4. Lander still looking for their first points of the night. Playing defense right now. Top of the key is Maxfield. Big man DeWitt down to the left corner. Bradshaw double teamed and fouled. This will be Lander's foul. and number 2 on the Tigers. See what they got. That is the first for Keaton Iron Eyes. 4-0 Eagles. Try to update you on the score for those of you watching on the video. I'll do more score updating than we usually do. Appreciate your patience. Happy we got the game on the air, though. Able to watch it from back home in Fremont County. Empty possession for Lyman with a long shot that's no good. So Lander in transition will draw a foul. First foul against Lyman. It will be Hayden Jackson's first. Lander to inbound from the side. Peyton Bell. Pretty good crowd here of Lyman fans. It's one of the better attended home games that we've seen on the road for the Tigers. A lot of people in the building. Nice drive in from Peyton Bell, who finishes for Lander's first 2 points of the game. Peyton Bell's on the board, as are the Tigers. Now they're trying to cause problems in the backcourt with that full court press. 4-2, Lyman on top of Lander after the Peyton Bell conversion. And a jump ball. Possession arrow will be back to the Tigers. 5:15 to go in the first quarter on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Well, I thought it was. I guess the arrow was Lyman's. So Eagles basketball, and they'll flip the arrow back over to Lander for next time. Entry pass outside. Now a one-handed no-look bounce pass in. Lyman pulls it back out. Skip pass, dangerous, out of bounds. Tough to corral for Coulter DeWitt, and it falls out of bounds back to the Tigers. Lander facing full court pressure as they inbound. Trailing by 2. Early action here in game 2 from Lyman. Lander girls victorious in overtime in the first game. Iron Eyes from the corner for Lander. No good. Top of the backboard and out of bounds. Lander's getting the looks, just trying to get those shots to fall early on. Trailing by 2, 4-2. Lyman on top. Lyman with a substitution into the game. There are a bunch of people here. You can't really see them. You can a little bit on the County 10 YouTube stream, but big bleachers, tall bleachers that we're at the very top of here on the near side. And a lot of Lyman fans here. Smattering of Tiger fans across the way as well. Lyman with a couple of passes down low and a nice finish off of the double entry pass. And 6-2 is the score. Lyman on top. Iron Eyes in transition is double teams. Back to Peyton Bell. Bell, ISO. Now kicks it out. There's an open look at a 3 that's no good. One and done for the Tigers. Rebound pulled down by Wyatt for Lyman. That's Aiden Wyatt. Lyman pretty crisp with their set offense. Like the perimeter passing from the Eagles so far. Nice long possessions. Trying to tire out Lander a little bit early on here. We're halfway through the first quarter. Peyton Bell with the only bucket for the Tigers. 3-second violation, I think, is what we got the call there on Lyman. So that'll be back to the Tigers. 6-2 Lyman advantage. Halfway through the first. Peyton Bell easily breaks the ISO defense and drives into the lane. Peyton Bell says, I'll have those first 2 buckets myself, thanks. 6-4 Lyman on top of Lander. 2-2-1 press. Delaying the cross across the timeline for Lyman. They do get it across. Starting the Eagles set offense. Started left and now back to the right side outside. Now Shear has the ball top of the key. Bounce pass to his left. Big man in the corner is DeWitt. Skip pass dangerous, nearly stolen away. But it does find its way in there. Floater in the lane is no good, and a foul is going to be called on Lyman. See, they tag for that. It's going to be Dallin Smith with his first. I believe that's team foul number 2. So 2 fouls for both teams halfway through the first quarter. Now down to 3:27. Peyton Bell driving it again. Much tougher shot this time. Right hand from the left side, and that's no good in transition. Stolen away by Bell, top of the key briefly, but retained by Lyman. Driving in is Jackson. Left elbow shot, no good. Peyton Bell looking to push the issue in transition. He's got Gavin Romer next to him. Peyton Bell up and under and was fouled. It was a real difficult shot trying to spin it off the backboard. Full up and under. Didn't go, but a couple of free throws are coming for Bell. First one. No good. He's got one more coming. Lander trailing by 2, 6-4. 3:05 to go in the first quarter. Lyman on top early on. Second free throw for Peyton Bell, who has all of Lander's points so far. No good on the second free throw. Lead remains 2 for the Eagles. 6-4, early, about halfway through the first quarter. Entry pass for Lyman, down low is Smith. Dallin Smith lost the handle. Bounced it off a roamer to retain possession for the Eagles, so they'll inbound from under the basket. It's 2:15 to go on the first quarter clock. Still Lyman by 2, 6-4. Shear driving in, gives it out to his left wing. Here's a 3 in the quarter from Aiden Wyatt. No good, and the rebound is pulled down by Lander. Peyton Bell for the Tigers. Driving in the lane, hanging. Peyton Bell's gotten a little bit cold after making Lander's first 2 buckets. Still 6-4, Lyman on top. Contact in the lane as Dallin Smith drove in for Lyman. No whistle there, and now the foul is going to be on Lyman. Is that team foul number 4? It is. So no more fouls to give for Lyman. Still 2:22 to go in the first quarter. Lander only with 2 team fouls in the first frame. A couple of substitutions either way. And Lander will inbound. Lyman backing off of their pressure, sitting back to half court. Tigers still trailing by 2. Peyton Bell's been trying to do it a little bit himself. Some of the other offense going here with Keaton Iron Eyes, top of the key, into the corner. That's a long 3. That one's no good. Good looking shot. A little bit too strong, and Lyman comes away with a rebound. Some trouble with it as Lander applies that pressure. Peyton Bell has his man across the timeline. Lyman working their offense to the left side now with Maxfield. Bradshaw nearly dragged it for a travel, but kept his foot on the ground, and a foul right after that will be called on Lander. Third team foul for the Tigers, and the first for Gwinna. Quincy Gwinna nearly made that 3. On the inbounds, an alley-oop and a quick bucket for Lyman. They have now doubled up Lander 8-4 with 1:12 to go in the first quarter. Iron Eyes driving in, strong off the glass. No good. Gavin Romer with a tip put back. That is there. 8-6 Lyman after the Romer follow. Lyman across the timeline with 1:23 to go in the first quarter. Bradshaw for the Eagles gives it up for a long 3 to Wyatt. Wyatt missed. Rebound is pulled down by Rivera Jr. Theodore Rivera Jr. into the game for the Tigers. Iron Eyes, spot 3 from up top, no good. The rebound pulled down by Lyman. Still 8-6 Eagles with a 1 minute mark coming up in the first quarter. Lyman, good ball movement in the first quarter. Making Lander work in the set offense with that double team up top. Passing the ball around, trying to tire out the Tigers. 45 seconds remaining in the first. Turnaround from the free throw line is no good. Rebound is pulled down by Gwinna. Now here's a 3 in the corner from Rivera Jr. I think that was Theodore Rivera Jr. Hit a couple of those against Rollins in the first half to lift up his team. Now the Tigers trailing by 1, 9-8. The way the scoreboard from our vantage point, both of them are, I think the Tigers are on top 9-8. We have an obstructed view of the scoreboard here. Gavin Romer with a steal on the inbound. 14 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Quincy Gwinna with 7 seconds remaining. Gwinna, top of the key, right elbow now, 4 seconds, 3. Rivera, turnaround 3. Good looking shot, but did not go. And that is the end of the first quarter. And yes, as I do the math, because I can't see the scoreboard, so I'll do the math on our score sheet. Lander is on top, 9-8 after one quarter. Back right after this on 1330 KOVE and county10.com.
Watch the Tigers and Lady Tigers varsity games all season on County 10's YouTube channel.
Start of the second quarter of our second game here from Lyman. The Lander ladies victorious in overtime earlier this evening, 40-34 over the Lyman Lady Eagles. Lander boys trying to do the same. Maybe not in overtime. Maybe we can take care of it in regulation here. Start of the second quarter, Lander taking their first lead of the game at 9-8. Gavin Romer with the entry pass and a turnaround down low. Romer's second bucket. And the Tigers up 11-8 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard, just underway in the second quarter. Near steal off of that 2-2-1 press in the backcourt. Lyman able to save it across the timeline. Lyman setting up their offense with Bradshaw in the left corner. Skips it all the way across. And a runner in the lane. That's a good shot from Aiden Wyatt. Gets the Lyman Eagles back within one. It's 11-10 Tigers. Quincy Gwynna to Peyton Bell, who's back into the game. Romer down low, saves it, or tried to, but stepped out of bounds. Turnover back to Lyman. You got Gwynna and Bell on the floor. Romer's in there. I think Plastead's back into the game. And Noah St. Clair rounding out the five on the floor for Lander. Lyman across the timeline, threw the ball, oh boy, off of the official to save it from going out of bounds, but Lander with the ball anyway. In transition, lost the handle. Here comes Lyman, floating one down low with an alley-oop that is no good. Fast-paced action here early on in the second quarter as Gwynna settles things down on the possession for Lander. Tigers with a 1-point lead. Quincy Gwynna driving in, right side, outside, gives it up to St. Clair, able to save the play. Gets it to Bell. Bell into the corner. No good. Gwynna coming down with the offensive rebound. Nice foot awareness there on the baseline. Puts up a shot, and Quincy Gwynna finishes the play for his first points of the game. 13-10. Lander on top on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Lyman in a bit of trouble at half court against 2-2-1 to clear it. Eagles trailing by 3. Bounce pass down low, fought for, and now stolen away by Noah St. Clair. St. Clair ahead to Peyton Bell. Corrals it. Pumps. Gets his man in the air. Double teamed. Shot up. No good. Rebounds out to Gwynna. Gwynna pulling up from mid-range. Passes on the shot to Plastead. Plastead with a real tough runner in the lane. Nice shot, but didn't go. Like to see that from Porter Plastead, though. Like that shot in his bag. Just didn't fall this time. Here's a steal at half court from Peyton Bell. Finishes the play. Peyton Bell with a nice defensive play. Clean strip and a timeout coming from Lyman. 15-10. Tigers on top. And we'll take a break with them. Back after this. Second quarter action. Tigers up by 5 on 1330 KOVE and county10.com.
The Tigers play here. KOVE Radio.
Lander Tigers falling into their game a little bit. Defense creating offense. And Lander leads by 5. Approaching midway through the second quarter. 15-10 on Lyman. Out of the Eagles' timeout, Lyman will inbound. Ball tipped out of bounds by Quincy Gwinna, who got the tip and the turnover. Quincy Gwinna able to knock that ball off a Lyman Eagle and out of bounds to Lander. Gwinna knew he had done it right away. Good job by the official to see it. Gwinna inbounds to Peyton Bell. Lyman forcing a turnover, trying to convert these into points now. Here's a floater in the lane, a long 2 from Gwinna that's no good. Lyman across the timeline to start their offense. The 5-minute mark of the first half. Tigers leading by 5. Eagles, top of the key, and now diving into the right elbow is Wyatt. Wyatt gives it up. There's a tough floater. No good, but Wyatt pulls down the offensive rebound for Lyman. St. Clair dishing ahead to Peyton Bell, who finishes. Peyton Bell with 8 points. Lander's lead is now 7. 17-10. Now a steal off of the 2-2-1. Noah St. Clair coming away with the ball, driving in. Tough angle off the backboard to finish the play. And Lyman comes down with a rebound. It's exactly what you want to see from Lander, though. That 2-2-1 creating steals at half court. Lyman able to cross the timeline cleanly this time. Tigers by 5. Ball tipped out of bounds by, I think, Playstead. So it will remain Lyman's ball. 4:24 to go in the first half. Tigers, again, a bit of a slow start. But when that defense got going, it led to points in the other end. Peyton Bell with 8. Romer's got a couple of buckets. Tigers lead by 7. 17-10, 4:24 to go in the first half. Lyman on the inbound. Ball's in the right corner. Nearly stolen away by Peyton Bell. Lyman saves the possession for a 3. That's no good. Playstead pulls down the rebound. Lander hurrying in transition. Iron Eyes saves it briefly, but I think steps out of bounds. No, must have been off an Eagle. Lander basketball under the basket. Tigers lead by 7. 4-minute mark of the second quarter. Drive from Noah St. Clair, who hangs and gets his first points of the game. 19-10, Lander trying to pull away at the end of the first half. Causing problems again in that 2-2-1. So tough to break. Both the boys and the girls teams run it. And it's not about the backcourt pressure. It's not about getting the ball across the timeline, although that can be a problem too. It's the traps that come after that and the passing lanes that you don't see as you're trying to break that 2-2-1 that just disappear on you. Both Lander teams run it so well. France into the game for Lyman, inbounds. Here's a 3 to cut into Lander's lead. It's no good. Lander, 19-10, looking to add on with Peyton Bell. Bounce pass to Iron Eyes. That shot was no good. Somehow that possession was saved back to Iron Eyes. That was actually an Eagle that threw it errantly back to Lander. Iron Eyes driving in at the left elbow. He's double teamed. Peyton Bell, spot 3. Ooh, good looking shot, but no good. Rebound to Rivera. Peyton Bell driving in, dishes out to Iron Eyes. 3 in the corner. Keaton Iron Eyes, no good. Rebound, Bell to Rivera. Left elbow. Now Lander resets. It's actually Paxton Hollingshead into the game. He tries a 3. He can make that, but missed that shot. Lyman with the ball back. 3 minutes to go in the first half. Tigers up 19-10. Lyman running their offense around the perimeter. Joey Blumel gives the ball up to France. Cal France. Drop pass in the lane. Runner is no good. France is there for the offensive rebound for Lyman. Everett Lee driving in with a tough shot. He is fouled. I think they got Hollingshead on the rebound opportunity on the foul. Will actually be the first foul from either team in the quarter. Down to 2:38 to go. First foul is against Hollingshead. That's his first of the quarter for Lander. On the inbound, we'll get another quick foul, though. Shouldn't have said anything. Keaton Iron Eyes will pick up his first foul, I believe, of the game. No, that's his second. I see here. And that's foul number 2 for Lander. That was ruled a shooting foul, so 2 team fouls, but free throws coming for Lyman. Current Lander lead is 19-10. First free throw is short. Tigers get Romer back into the game. He has 4 points. Peyton Bell got the offense going a little bit in the first quarter. He leads the Tigers with 8 points. Sometimes you have to do that. Saw that in the girls' game, too, with Brianna Lincoln. You start shooting and making those and let your teammates catch up a little bit. Second free throw is no good. Follow leads to another foul and 2 more free throws. And all of a sudden, Lander has 3 fouls. That's Hollingshead's second foul down the floor on this possession. So he has 2. But a third missed free throw for Lyman. They are 0 for 3 this possession in free throws. 1 more coming. Lander lead is still 19-10. 2:27 to go in the first half. Lyman's 4th free throw this trip down is good. Cuts it to 8. Lander inbounding against pressure. Peyton Bell. Speedy crossover. Still not over half court, though. Now passes it to Rivera across the timeline. Placed it back into the game. Gives it up to his right. Peyton Bell top of the key. 2:10 to go in the second quarter. Lander by 8. 19-11. Driving in, Noah St. Clair with the left hand. Ooh, couldn't get it to go. It was a nice drive all the way across the lane. Nice touch. Just couldn't get it to fall off the glass. So the ball back to Lyman. Eagles work their offense right side out. Now skip back to the left. Here's Shear with a drop pass in the lane. That's no good. Offensive rebound is pulled down again by the Eagles. Here's a 3 ball. That's good. Much needed bucket after the Eagles came up with the offensive rebound. They've cut it to 5. 19-14 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Rivera across the timeline against pressure. Back up to Peyton Bell. Peyton Bell back to Rivera in the corner. He loves that spot. Passes it up this time. Back to Bell. 1:22 remaining in the second quarter. Tigers with the basketball up by 5. Playstead from right to left outside. 3 in the corner from Rivera. This time the left corner is no good. Ball out of bounds to Lyman. Coming up on the closing minute of the second quarter. Tigers hanging on to a 5-point advantage. But Lyman with the ball. Stoppage gives the Tigers a chance to set up that press, though. Being as effective in this game as it usually is. Ball nearly thrown away again, but somehow corralled by Lyman and tipped again down low. Eagles still saving the possession. Now they'll settle things down with 52 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Lyman with the ball trailing Lander by 5. Ball's on the floor again. St. Clair comes away with it. 41 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Ball knocked out of bounds briefly and now into the backcourt. That was saved briefly, but they're going to say stepping out of bounds was the Lyman player trying to make that play all the way down the floor. I want to give him credit. Who was that? Joey Blumel, who nearly saved a nice possession for Lyman, but the official did a good job of being right on top of the play, made the correct call. Saw that from up here on the baseline. So Lander inbounds, but Gwynna has it stolen away. Back to Lyman. Here's a mid-range 2-floater. Wyatt's no good from there. 22 seconds remaining. Lander comes down with a defensive rebound. They have a 5-point lead. 18 seconds. Lander running their offense, but traveling is Gwynna. Gives the ball back to Lyman with 15 seconds left in the quarter. 19-14, Tiger advantage. Lyman inbounding from the side. 13 seconds left in the first half. Lyman across the timeline. Holding for one shot here, it would appear. 4 seconds. Ball's on the floor. 3 seconds, now 2. This shot is good if it goes from 3. Wild shot, no good. Brings the end of the first half with the score, Lander Tigers 19, Lyman 14. We'll come back for the Y-Dot Buckle Up for Life halftime show and get you ready for the conclusion of Lander and Lyman coming up right after this on 1330 KOVE and County10.com. Welcome back to the Y-Dot Buckle Up for Life halftime show. Halftime of the Lander boys game here in Lyman. Boys on top 19-14. Right now joined by girls head coach Drew Powell. Landers ladies coming away with a 40-34 overtime victory in game 1. Head coach Powell, that was, again, a lot of fun to watch. Probably from your perspective, didn't want to see that to go to overtime. But once it did, Landers, your ladies responded. Came through when they had to and put the game away, which can be a valuable skill as you go on throughout February and hopefully March.
Yeah, it was a really good experience for us. I don't think many of them have been in an overtime game and just kind of trying to learn to have that killer mentality coming down the stretch rather than being so passive sometimes. But we're just happy we got out of here with a win. It's a hard place to play, and their coach, Jason, does a good job. He gives up with a scheme every single time, and it's just trying to figure out what that scheme is before you get here, and then once you do get here, making minor adjustments.
Right out of the gate, off of the bench, Brianna Lincoln came up with, I think, 4 threes in that first half. My tally had her with 16. We've talked about it so much with this team, though. When your quote-unquote typical scorers aren't going right away, you get that contribution from somewhere on the floor, and this time Brianna Lincoln was out there hitting from 3.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be anybody's night on this team. And I thought we had some girls shooting early that, if just one goes and gets their confidence a little bit higher, they have to change schemes. But, it just came down to she hit a bunch of shots, and it was great for us, and it gave us a little bit of momentum going into halftime.
Able to solidify things defensively down low, too, and kind of center your offense with Reinhardt and Zoe Mulholland. I know Reinhardt was in a bit of foul trouble there at the end of the game, but defense turning into offense, transition points, it's basically what you want from your team at this point in the year?
Yeah, that's exactly what we want. I thought there was a couple times we shot a 3 that we probably could have still had a 2-on-1 if we just kicked it out and then attacked downhill. And made the defender down in the paint actually make a decision. But those are things that we're learning a little bit still. Just being able to watch this film coming up here in the next couple of days will be good for them to see those kind of transpire and see what they need to do in that situation rather than just, especially when the ball's not going like it was in the second half, just making sure that we make a little bit better decision coming down the stretch.
Big road victory. Cody, coming up on Saturday. We'll talk to you then. Thanks for the time, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much.
Head coach Drew Powell of the Lander girls after a 40-34 overtime victory. Appreciate head coach Drew Powell. Every game at the halftime of the boys game makes time to come up here and talk to us. Especially appreciate it tonight because we're a ways up here. It's a trek up to the top of the bleachers, but head coach Powell alluded to this being a tough place to play, and it's not just the road trip, I think, on a school night, but there are a lot of fans here. There's as many Lyman fans filling out the bleachers as I've seen in any 3A gym when Lander's been on the road. And it became a little bit of a factor late in that girls' game because it was such a close game down the stretch. Then obviously went to overtime. Fortunately for the Tigers, they were able to hold Lyman to just 2 points in the overtime of the girls' game. And so crowd wasn't into it as much. But this is an old, concrete square gym, and you can absolutely see where this would be a tough place to play when the crowd really gets into it. So Landers girls coming up with the overtime victory. Halftime of the boys game here on the Y-Dot Buckle Up for Life halftime show brought to you by Y-Dot, reminding you that seatbelts save lives. Buckle up so you can stay in the game every time, every ride. Here at halftime of the boys game again, Tigers up by 5. Let's get you the scoring numbers as we have them from the boys in the first half. Peyton Bell leading all scorers by our tally with 8 points. 2 of those buckets, kind of hate to say by himself, but those were plays in the first quarter that Peyton Bell is just going to take that to the rack and make those more often than not. And that was instrumental, I think, in getting the Lander boys offense going a little bit, buying some time for the other scorers. Gavin Romer comes into the game. He has 4 points. Rivera has 3 points off of the bench. St. Clair added 2, and Quincy Gwynna added 2 in the first half. That's our unofficial score total from the first half of the boys game. Once again, Peyton Bell with 8 points in the first half. And it is a 19-14 lead for the Lander Tiger boys at halftime over Lyman. Well, the Tigers are trying to complete 2 sweeps in as many games. That Wheeling game on Saturday never happened because of weather. And so Friday was a conference victory for both the girls and the boys over Mountain View back home in Lander. And here on the road in Lyman, the girls have taken care of business in overtime. The boys are going to try to close out the Eagles with a 5-point Lander advantage at halftime. We'll take one more break and get you going down the stretch here from Lyman in the second half of the boys game after this on 1330 KOVE and County10.com.
The Tigers play here. KOVE Radio.
Ready for the second half of the Lander Tigers boys taking on Lyman. Scott Fuller with you from Lyman. Good Thursday evening to you. Honestly, just happy to be with you as we showed up several hours early as we always do. It did not look like we were going to have a broadcast for you. But fortunately, County 10 has some smart folks working for them, and we apologize for the lack of a scoreboard or graphics of any kind, but we got the video, and we got the audio, and we got the second half of Lander and Lyman, with the Tigers leading by 5. Lyman inbounding. Starting their offense from half court. Entry pass is from Wyatt for the Eagles. Gives it up, gets it back to Aiden Jackson. Left side outside. Now the ball stolen away by the Tigers. 2-on-1 in transition. Here is Gwynna, who can't finish the play. Oh boy. 2-on-1 for the Tigers. Gwynna with a good look. Lyman in transition also can't finish the play. So now a 3 from Plaisted is no good. A lot of shooting in the first minute of the third quarter and no points either way. Still 19-14, Tigers on top of Lyman. Eagles with the basketball. Bradshaw top of the key for Lyman. To his right, the entry pass down low for a turnaround from Maxfield. That's no good. Iron Eyes pulled down the rebounds and then maintained control. Landers ball the other way. They're going right to left for those of you listening on 1330 KOVE. Iron Eyes thought about a 3. Gave it up to Gwynna. Plaisted now from Iron Eyes. Peyton gets it back. Peyton Bell, and now back to Iron Eyes as Lander draws the defense away from the basket, trying to create something in the middle. There's the entry pass into the middle. Nice wraparound play to Porter Plaisted. I believe that was Porter finishing with his first bucket of the night. 7-point Lander advantage with 6:19 to go in the third quarter. It is 21-14. Relatively low-scoring game for both sides, at least as averages are concerned. In transition, Keaton Iron Eyes carried it. Iron Eyes trying to beat numbers down the floor and had a defender in his way of where he wanted to dribble the basketball and so had to carry it. Turnover back to Lyman. Tigers still up by 7, though. Lyman against Landers, 2-2-1. Iron Eyes catches up defensively, and now a double-team trap. Right side out. Back up top to Wyatt for Lyman. Aiden Jackson puts up a 3. That's no good. Iron Eyes there for the rebounds. That was St. Clair, rather. And now pushing the issue down the floor is St. Clair. Now Hollingshead, I believe, who couldn't save it. It was Porter Plaisted. Athletic play out of bounds, but at his foot on the line, so a turnover back to Lyman. Still a 21-14 Lander advantage. Under 6 to go in the third quarter now. Lyman in transition. Ball knocked away, but a foul instead is going to be called on Porter Plaisted. This is the one gym where I could have used my football binoculars for our broadcast tonight. I think that was Plaisted knocking the ball out of bounds. So Lyman will inbound with the Tigers up 7. Spot 3 by the big man DeWitt. That is good for Lyman. Big bucket for the Eagles. They misassigned that on the scoreboard. Scoreboard has Lander up by 10. Let's see if anybody notices this before it gets to be a problem. Scoreboard says 21-11 Lander. It should be a 4-point lead for the Tigers. They have not fixed that. This is just going to confuse people when someone figures that out, but that's not the least of all me. Now, it was a 7-point lead for the Tigers before the Lyman 3-pointer. The points were instead given to Lander, and nobody in the gym has noticed it yet. It is not 21-11. It is a 4-point Lander lead, but as mistakes go, that's one in Lander's favor. Under 5 to go. As Lyman runs their offense with Shearer, there's a 3 that's no good. Gavin Romer with a rebound. And now a 3 in transition for Lander. Rebound is pulled down by Peyton Bell. Peyton Bell skips it to Gwynna. Bell got it back. Gwynna, left side out, back to Peyton Bell. Spot 3. No good. Good look from Peyton Bell, but didn't fall. Lander is actually up by 4. The scoreboard has Lander up 10. And again, hasn't been fixed. 4:13 to go in the third quarter. I'm not going to tell anybody, but just remember that. A jump ball with a possession arrow back to the Tigers. I'm honestly a little bit shocked right now. Lyman's bench hasn't noticed it. Not a fan in the crowd is yelling anything. If Lander has noticed it, they're obviously not going to say anything. It would be a very sportsmanlike thing to do, to stop the game and say, hey, your scoreboard's wrong. But Lander is up by 4, and the scoreboard has him up by 10. Drive into the lane. Tigers hanging with Gwynna. Nice finish. All right, so we know what the score is. I'm just going to report what's in front of us and say this is a 23-11 lead. I'm sorry. My view of the scoreboard has, they do have 17 up there. I have a partially obstructed view of the scoreboard. And that would be absolutely unbelievable. But no, it is 23-17. That is the correct score. Just couldn't see the top line of the 7. Apologies for that. Contact down low. Peyton Bell took a big shot. And he is rolling around right under the basket. Immediately kind of grabbing at his upper body shoulder area. And the foul is that Gwynna? Is it Gwynna or Bell? No, it's Bell. Peyton Bell is going to come out of the game. Holding, it looks like his left upper arm, his left shoulder. It did not look good. Hopefully he's all right. He's being attended to first by the coaching staff, and now the trainer for Lyman is actually coming over to have a look at Peyton Bell. And a timeout is going to be taken by Lander. So confusion averted. The actual score is 23-17 with the Lander Tigers on top. 30-second timeout was actually taken by Lyman. Thanks to our sponsors, Perfect Power Electric and Lander, supporting our athletes on and off the field. Give Perfect Power a call today for all your electric needs at 332-7184. Thanks to Fremont Chevy GMC in Riverton, supporting our local athletes. Your hard work and dedication doesn't go unnoticed, and Fremont Chevy GMC is here for you every step of the way. 1401 North Federal in Riverton. Out of the timeout, score is 23-17. Lander on top. Under halfway gone in the third quarter. A foul apiece in the third quarter is all. Officials, by and large, have let them play. There was no foul called on the Peyton Bell injury, by the way. Bell's still out of the game. Off the inbound, Romer missed the entry pass down low. Back to Lyman. 6-point Tiger advantage. Approaching the 3-minute mark of the third quarter. Lyman working their offense, left side, outside, entry pass down low, no good. Lander fighting for the rebound. Instead, Lyman comes down with it. Gavin Romer trying to rip the ball away, and a jump ball is called as Gavin Romer got his size involved. Good firm grip on the basketball and started ripping without fouling. Nice job by Romer. Good no call by the official, and the jump arrow, possession arrow, is back to Lyman. 3 off the inbound from Hayden Jackson, no good. Comes Lander in transition with Gwynna to Playstead. Playstead stops left block. Turnaround. Nice right-handed floater from Porter Playstead with points number 3 and 4 of his game. Lander 25-17 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Tigers trying to pull away here in the third quarter. This will be a Tiger foul across the timeline. either Playstead or Gwynna, and I think they got Gwynna for his second. They did. Foul number 2 on the quarter for the Tigers. Lyman has 1. Lyman on the inbound. It is Aiden Wyatt. Entry pass down low to Smith. Smith back to Wyatt. Shear. Now right corner for Lyman is France. All the way back up top. Ball nearly thrown out of bounds. And unable to save it was Shear, so a turnover back to Lander. Tigers up 25-17 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. 2:18 to go in the third quarter. Gavin Romer to Playstead as Lander starts their offense to Gwynn on the right side. Diving in. Nice drop pass to Romer, and Romer finishes. Romer has 6, and the Tigers have increased their lead to 10 for real this time. 27-17 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. This is well below Lyman's scoring average. It's a little bit below Lander's, too. Steal in transition and finishing the play is Noah St. Clair. Adding on now 29-17. Defense into offensive points for the Tigers at the end of the third quarter. Shear for the Eagles to Wyatt. 3 left side outside is no good. Tigers track down the rebound with Gwynna. Gwynna pulls up. Across the timeline to Romer. Back to Gwynna. Diving in. Blocked. Romer with a follow and the float. That's good. Gavin Romer has 8 points. Lyman needs a timeout. 31-17. Tigers on top. Thought we just had a timeout call, but the officials are discussing something with both benches. All I can think is a foul was called before the timeout. Let's clear this up first. Nope, no foul called, just a timeout taken by Lyman. 31-17 back after this. Third quarter action, Lander trying to pull away on 1330 KOVE and county10.com. Lyman basketball out of the Eagles timeout. Inbounding with just about a minute to go in the third quarter. Tigers up 31-17. Floater in the lane from Lyman is no good. Lander with a real opportunity here to pull away. Playstead in transition to Hollingshead. Paxton Hollingshead drives in right elbow. Tough floater. Almost went, but didn't. Rebound pulled away by Lyman. And the Eagles try to make something happen in transition. Double team creates trouble on the floor. It was a great play from Lyman's Buzz Nelson into the game off of the bench. He had 2 Tigers over him while he was lying on his back and saved the possession. Eagles still with the basketball with 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. 31-17 Tigers. Maxfield up top to Wyatt. Entry pass into the paint. Rebound pulled down by Gavin Romer. You know Stu Mullins is going to want to hang on for one shot here with 15 seconds remaining in the quarter. Lander up 31-17. Peyton Bell. Oh, Peyton's still out of the game. Hope he's all right. Gwynna gets it to Noah St. Clair with 4 seconds. Now 3. St. Clair off of the glass with a pretty kiss. Noah St. Clair finishes off a solid quarter of basketball for the Lander Tigers. 33-17. Fourth quarter coming up. Back after this on 1330 KOVE and county10.com.
The Tigers play here. KOVE Radio.
Tigers looking to close out fourth quarter up 33-17 over the Lyman Eagles. Appreciate those of you with us on the stream. I've just noticed a couple of chats in the chat box. Shout out to Karen Lindsay. Appreciate your words. No bells and whistles. Glad we have audio. Glad you're there to stream us. For us who can't be there, happy to do it, Karen. And let's give a shout out while we're at it to Alicia, who it looks like is the aunt of Noah St. Clair, tuning in from Arizona. So thanks to those of you who are tuning in. Speaking of that, there you go, Alicia. Noah St. Clair driving in, getting fouled, and a couple of free throws are coming up. My colleague, Jared Anderson, who multitasks a lot better than me, does a much better job of interacting with the audience live. And just one nice thing about our current setup is that I can see the chat box. St. Clair's first free throw is good. He's catching up on the score sheet with 7. And the second free throw, no good. But the Tigers have a 34-17 advantage, and Lyman with a sense of urgency here in the fourth quarter. Lyman in trouble on their offensive set, and the ball ends up out of bounds back to the Tigers. It was kind of a tough ask for Lyman's Dallin Bradshaw. Found himself dribbling the ball in circles with 3 Tigers around him. Also may have tweaked his ankle. For those of you just tuning in, Peyton Bell has left the game. Appeared to be an upper body, maybe shoulder issue after trying to take a charge under the basket and hasn't come back since. Hope Peyton's all right. Gavin Romer with a spin down low. Can't convert. Ball is out of bounds to Lander, though. Peyton has been sitting on the bench, received attention from the coaching staff, as well as, I should mention, Lyman's trainer. Shout out to the host school for sending somebody over to make sure he's okay. Paxton Hollingshead for 3 in the corner. That's no good. Offensive rebound by St. Clair, but the putback by Romer after the St. Clair miss. Gavin Romer in double figures actually leads all Lander scores with 10, and the Tigers are on top 34-17. Turnover to Playstead. Lander with another shot at it. Lost possession briefly. Playstead can't regain control, though. Lander is just tenacious on defense as Lyman tries to claw back into the game. Nice turnaround on the baseline. This is interesting. So a turnaround bucket underneath. There's a Tiger trying to draw a charge down low, and they actually called a flop, and so counted the basket. Made the shot anyway, so it's a moot point. Haven't seen that called this year in high school. 36-19, Tigers still on top and with the basketball. That is Gwynna trying a runner, no good. Gavin Romer there for the rebound, but lost the handle, so back to Lyman. Tigers trying to pull away, milk the clock. 36-19. It's the girls' team departs the building. They must have traveled separately, the two teams. Make the 3-hour trip down here this afternoon. Long 3 in the corner is no good, and Lander still trying to push the issue in transition. Playstead lost the handle. Ball finds its way to Hollingshead. Paxton Hollingshead with a floater in the lane. Believe that's his first 2 points of the game, and the Tigers lead 38-19 with 6 minutes even remaining on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Timeout taken by head coach Stu Mullins. Lander timeout gives us a chance to thank Wyoming Catholic College. Proud to cheer on our local athletes. Your dedication on and off the court is admirable. Find them online at wyomingcatholic.edu. Also thanks to Bailey Tire and Auto, proud supporter of our local athletes. Full-service tire and auto shops at 755 South Federal in Riverton and 1305 West Main in Lander. Lander Tigers trying to complete the sweep. Lady Tigers over Lyman 40-34 in overtime in our first game. Lander Tiger boys, no strangers to overtime on this season. They have played in 2 overtime games, or 1 for 1. Let's hope there is no overtime here. That would mean that Lander had given up a 19-point lead with 6 minutes to go. So not rooting for overtime on this night. Tigers 38 to Lyman's 19. Nice defensive showcase. stat-wise for the Tigers, holding Lyman to 19 points to this point. About halfway through the fourth quarter. Lyman trying to add on a couple. Gavin Romer, nice defense down low, forcing the ball loose, but Lyman retains possession. Back up top to Wyatt, and the Eagles will reset, though they have to hurry. Got to get some shots in the air, does Lyman. 5:39 remaining. Mid-range two, it's no good. Rebound, I think that was St. Clair, who now has numbers. 3-on-1 if Lander hurries. Gwynna leans in, can't finish the layup. No, that's Peyton. Is that Peyton Bell? I hope that's Peyton Bell back into the game. That would mean he's all right. Yeah, I think that's Peyton Bell back into the game after injuring maybe his shoulder. So that is great to see. Yep, Peyton back on the floor. That didn't look good. It also didn't sound good, but Bell is out there and as active as usual. So great news for the Tigers. Boy, that was an awkward shot, but it works for Lyman. Floater in the lane goes, and so the Eagles have broken 20. It's 38-21 Tigers. Hollingshead for Lander to Plaisted. Pax drives in right elbow, gives it up to his right. St. Clair with a bounce pass. Gavin Romer stepped out of bounds. Turnover back to the Eagles. Approaching the midway mark of the fourth quarter. Lyman's going to inbound full court. Against that 2-2-1 of Landers. Still yet to cross the timeline. Now they center it, but the ball got away from the Eagles. Again, that Lander 2-2-1 forces a turnover. Peyton Bell thought about a three in the left corner, leans in, gets a floater to go. Peyton Bell not only not injured, apparently, but with 10 points on the night. Can't tell you what an instrumental part of his offense, the Tigers' offense, he is. Quickness, ball handling, generally good decision-making. Peyton Bell, important piece. They all are, the Tigers. It was going to be that kind of a year. You knew everybody was going to have to play their role and stay healthy as much as possible. Ball dribbled off the foot, I think, of Hayden Jackson. Out of bounds back to Lander. And an update from across Fremont County. Riverton girls victorious tonight over Jackson, and the boys also won their game. Just have that update from Jared Anderson. That game happening, those games happened at Riverton High School. Timeouts taken as we close down this one. Landers' lead remains 19 points, 40-21. And approaching 3 minutes to go in the game. We'll take it with them back after this from Lyman on 1330 KOVE and County10.com.
Watch today's games on the County 10 YouTube channel or catch radio coverage on KOVE 1330 AM 1077 FM.
Lander Tigers lead is now 42-21. As leaning in for a bucket is Noah St. Clair following the inbounds. St. Clair with 9 points on the night. Tigers pulling away from Lyman, trying to close out the sweep. 3.5 to go as the Eagles run their offense, just trying to narrow the score a bit. Landers should have this one in hand, though. 42-21, approaching the 3-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Nice leaner from Aiden Wyatt. Adds 2 for Lyman, so now 42-23. Peyton Bell again left the game in the third quarter with an injury. He looks okay. Back into the game. Got it to Gwynna. Now St. Clair down low. Peyton Bell, spot 3, right side outside. Peyton Bell looks just fine, actually. 13 points for Peyton on the night. 45-23 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Shear in for Lyman. Ball knocked out of bounds. That was Peyton Bell doing the honors there, too. Lyman's going to have to inbound again. Just over 2.5 to go in the game. Lander will complete the sweep of Lyman. It's 2 games in a row. Got the sweep over Mountain View, boys and girls, on Friday of last week. No Wheatland game due to the weather on Saturday of last weekend. Girls winning in overtime here in our first game. And Lander's boys trying to close out. 2 off the inbound makes it a 20-point lead. Lyman adding 2 late. 45-25. Peyton Bell for 3 again. Knocks down a 3 from the exact same spot as the last time down the floor. He has 16 points now, does Peyton Bell. Actually sat out most of a quarter with that injury. Still has 16. 48-25 on the Fremont Chevy scoreboard. Jackson trying to answer for Lyman. Rebound was pulled down by Lander. Might have said that ball hit the top of the backboard, and so out of bounds to the Tigers. Minute 33 to go in the game. 48-25 Tigers. Nice thing about a 3-hour school night bus ride home is you get the victory. Conference win for Lander. Gwynna driving in for the Tigers. Gave it up to Iron Eyes. Iron Eyes with the bounce pass to Rivera. Now in the corner is Gwynna. Gwynna for 3, no good. Rebounds pulled down and now advanced to Jackson for the Eagles. Euro step in the lane from Wyatt. He was fouled. Let's see if this should be on the floor. Credit the officials, not a whole lot of fouling. Credit both teams, not a lot to call one way or the other. That's a team foul apiece here in the quarter. A couple of free throws are coming from Wyatt. They'll give him the progress of the shot there, so a couple of free throws coming for Aiden Wyatt. Speaking of Lander sports, LVHS is hosting a Friday and Saturday wrestling tournament this weekend. First free throws up and good. I'm told there are 28 teams participating in that Lander duel on Friday and Saturday. There's a massive Friday-Saturday tournament. I think Riverton may have one at the end of this month as well. Not sure if it's quite that large, but 28 teams heading to Lander this weekend. It's going to be hopping. Lander running their offense with 1:10 to go. 3 in the corner from Caleb Larvey into the game. Bench wanted that one. Caleb doesn't see a ton of minutes sometimes, and chance for points from Larvey. Answer 3 from Jackson's also no good. Long offensive rebound finds its way to Buzz Nelson for the Eagles. That shot's no good. Offensive rebound pulled down. We're finally under a minute to go in the fourth quarter. Ball skip past out of bounds, back to Lander. Tigers 48 to Lyman's 27. Believe the Lander ladies are already on their way back home. No doubt the Lander boys will be on the bus quickly as the night was extended a bit because of the overtime in the girls' game. Lander girls holding Lyman to just 2 points in the overtime, winning 40-34. And the Lander boys cruising in the second game of our doubleheader. Rivera wanted a 3 from the top of the key to add on, no good. Lyman in transition, ball is stolen away. Under 30 seconds now remaining in the game. Lander runs their offense with Darian Herford into the game for the first time a couple of moments ago. Caleb Larvey comes up with an errant ball at the free throw line. A couple of passes down low to the right block. That shot also no good. It's out of bounds to Lyman. No, saved by the Eagles with 7 seconds, now 6. Long 3 at the end of the game, no good. 2 seconds, 1. Putback is good. That will count. And so the final score will be 48-29. Lander Tigers complete the sweep of Lyman on the road on a school night. Be a fun bus ride back home. And we will wrap things up with the Bailey Tire and Auto postgame show in just a moment. Next here on 1330 KOVE and County10.com. Welcome back to Lyman High School. Wrapping things up here on the Bailey Tire and Auto postgame show. Lander completes the sweep. Overtime win by the girls in the first game, and Lander's boys 48-29 over Lyman for head coach Sue Mullins' third consecutive win, dating all the way back to the Rollins tournament. Head coach Mullins joins us right now. And Coach, what I like to see at the end of that game is it's a road game. It can be a tough place to play. It's a school night, and it was a competitive first half, and you guys have started to learn how to close teams out, it seems like, and was able to hold Lyman to just well below their average in scoring. But what did you see from your guys tonight?
Yeah, we really guarded well. That's been a big emphasis for us, and we just kind of made a decision that we couldn't be worse in our zone, and we've played it for the last 3 years, and we'll still continue to have man as an option for us, but our kids love our zone. They fly around in it. So the great thing tonight is, you're right, Lyman scores mid-50s, and to hold it down like that, I was really proud of him.
Gavin Romer with 10 points. Peyton Bell having to sit maybe almost a quarter of game time with an injury. He came back. He looks to be okay. Made a couple of threes down the stretch with 16. He had 9 points from Noah St. Clair. As we've talked about, you can never really tell who's going to be on the top of your stat sheet, but somebody is always there to kind of bridge the team offensively and give guys a chance to catch up.
Yeah, and offensively, that's a whole other side of the story. We really challenged them at halftime. I mean, at some point, you got to finish your bunnies. I mean, how many layups? I think we missed 9 layups in the first half, and 7 of them weren't very contested. You can't make it any easier. And so we had to just toughen up. You can't avoid contact all the time. You got to go right through, we call it their nostrils, right through their nostrils, and go score that thing. And, we really responded well in the second half, which is we were anxious to see what happened. And really proud of the boys for continuing to play defense, but making the game a little bit easier on offense.
Yeah, I want to say that earlier in the year, maybe before Christmas, you had told me that you kind of had that Cody game circled. That's coming up on Saturday. Do you have practice tomorrow, first of all, and kind of what's the game plan going into Cody?
Well, I think so. There's a wrestling meet.
A huge wrestling meet.
Yeah, all the gyms are packed. If we do go, it'll be light, and they were going to get back tonight. They're expected to be in class in the morning, which is difficult. And so we got to get prepared for sure. I thought that we played well for about 2.5 quarters against them the first time we played them.
Yep.
And there's some things I think we could have done a lot better, especially on the defensive end, giving up 69 points. So we're anxious to play them again.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was really encouraged by our second half today.
Yeah. We'll let you get on the road, Coach. Congrats on the win. And we'll see you again on Saturday up in Cody.
Okay, thanks for following us.
Head coach Stu Mullins of the Lander Tigers. After a sweep of a sweep of Lyman, with the girls and the boys here tonight, 40-34. The girls in overtime, and the Lander boys, good defensive game, nice offensive game, especially as we got out of the first quarter there. Lander on top of Lyman, 48-29 in the nightcap. We appreciate those of you watching at county10.com. Once again, no bells and whistles. I know it's frustrating not to have the scoreboard, but as we mentioned as we started the broadcast, for about 2 hours after we got here, I wasn't sure we were going to have the broadcast at all, but I have a good team at County 10 that got us on the air, and we appreciate you joining us on YouTube, as well as those of you listening over the air on 1330 KOVE. Jared Anderson has that Cody broadcast coming up for you on Saturday. And thanks for listening to Lander Valley High School basketball on 1330 KOVE and county10.com.